From Milan, Italy, this is the 2026 Winter Olympics on the Ultimate Sports Network. On this Friday, the road to the Olympic gold medal narrows to just 4, and only 2 will survive. It's semifinal hockey on the world's biggest stage as Finland collides with Canada, with a trip to the gold medal game hanging in the balance. Hello, one and all. Good morning in North America, and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Jaric Rubel. Delighted to have you with me today in a game where every shift matters, every mistake is magnified, and history is waiting to be written between these two countries. There is no unfamiliarity between these two nations. Canada, they are the standard bearer of excellence in international hockey. They arrive in the semifinals exactly where they expect to be. Deep, relentless, and overwhelming. They come at you wave after wave with NHL talent that has a ton of size, speed, and finishing ability. And through this tournament, Canada has looked composed, confident, and have been ruthless when opportunities present themselves. But they do arrive here shorthanded in this game, and in the most significant way possible. Canadian captain Sidney Crosby will not play in this semifinal after suffering an injury in Wednesday's quarterfinal win over Czechia. And the heartbeat of Team Canada, the voice in the room which was still talking even when he was hurt, that helped that team propel the victory over Czechia when down. Crosby is that stabilizing force in moments like that, what could be moments like this in this game here today. And he is unavailable when stakes are at their highest. And that does change everything, but Canada still boasts a ton of elite talent, obviously, and they still bring size, pressure, and championship pedigree. But without their captain in the lineup, the roles will shift. Leadership must come from everywhere, and the margin for error tightens. Sam Bennett and Sam Reinhart will draw into the lineup on the same line together with Brad Marchand. In Crosby's absence, Horvat will move up to play with McKinnon, and Hagel will drop down with Stone and Marner. So that is how Team Canada's looking heading into this game. Standing across the red line, though, is a Finnish team that understands exactly how to exploit moments like this. Finland doesn't beat itself. They never have. They're structured, disciplined, patient, and the Finns suffocate time and space against their opponent that frustrates skill and makes them grow uncomfortable. And against a Canadian team missing its emotional compass, Finland will look to slow down the pace of today's game, shorten the Canadian shifts, and turn this semifinal into a test of what will be composure. This is a Finn team that has already proven it can weather storms. They've leaned on defensive structure and trusted their goaltender in UC Saros and stayed connected when games threatened to tilt. And then against Canada here today, they'll have to play against their pace and physicality. Finland gonna have to try and grind that team down to inches and moments. And that contrast defines this matchup as Canada wants pace and momentum. Finland wants order, precision, and control. Canada will try and push through the neutral zone and cycle down low, test Finland's defensive layers. Meanwhile, Finland will try and counter by collapsing and blocking lanes and forcing Canada to earn every opportunity they could get without their captain in Sidney Crosby to steady the ship. Special teams could swing this game, goaltending could steal it, and discipline will matter more than ever. These programs know what is at stake. They know what 60 minutes can demand, and in this semifinal, they know how to act on this stage. One plays for dominance, the other plays for survival, and thrives there. Only one will skate for gold, and this semifinal stage is set. It's Finland, it's Canada. A place in the Olympic gold medal game awaits. You're listening to the 2026 Winter Olympic Games with Jaric Rubel live on YouTube. Starting goaltenders and the drop of the puck in this semifinal game is next. Welcome back into Milan, Italy, where we're set for the first of two semi-final games in the men's ice hockey tournament today. My name's Jaric Rubel. Glad you're with me for this game between Canada and Finland. Let's take a look at today's starting netminders. In goal for Canada's Jordan Binnington. He's 3-0 this tournament with a 1.65 goals against average, a .922 save percentage. 2019 Stanley Cup champion with St. Louis. He'll be opposed by UC Saros, 2013 fourth rounder of the Preds, as in this tournament he's 3-1 with a 1.49 goals against average and a .938 save percentage. It'll be the Bennett line with Marchand and Reinhart to start this game against their teammates in Florida. On the opposing side, Lundell and Luosterainen along with Capo Kakko. The puck is dropped, Finland controls, and this semifinal game has begun from Milan, Italy in the Winter Olympics. Nico Mikkola for Finland wearing number 77 will flip one into the near corner of the Canadian zone. It'll go around to the far wall where Sam Bennett's there to grab it. He'll nudge it out to center for Marchand, who has a pep in his step through center. On the near wing, he leaves it for Hagel into the finish zone. His shot blocked behind the net by Saros. Came up the far wall and out it'll come. Kakko at center will snap one in. He'll head to change. Binnington out of his net to play this puck for the first time as he'll leave for the Dallas Star, Thomas Harley, who will play it ahead. Harley, a dual citizen from Syracuse, New York, but moved to Toronto when he was in his teenage years and decided he's playing for Canada in last year's Four Nations in this Olympics, so he's representing them in this tournament as Wilson threw a puck on net that Celebrini might have got a piece of, but Saros gets the glove on it for our first whistle 50 seconds in. So let's take a look at these lines for Team Canada without Sidney Crosby in this game. McDavid given the C with Celebrini and Wilson on the top line. McKinnon with Horvat and Jarvis. Now it's Nick Suzuki who got the tying goal in that quarterfinal game with Marner and Mark Stone. Bennett with Marchand Reinhart, and then Hagel, the 13th skater. Draw to the left of Saros, flipped out of there by Team Finland as Rupe Hintzel send it in. The rest of the Canadian look on their defense, it's Tays with Makar, then Harley with Parayko, Sanheim with Doughty, and Shea Theodore, the extra defenseman. So Cale Makar behind his own net, nudged it this way to Thomas Harley. He goes up the near wall with it, but it's going to be turned right back the other way by the Finns, as now Tays and Makar must reset again with a minute 20 gone by in this opening period. Makar out the center, snapped it on the far wing for Jarvis, who tipped it into the finish zone. From the far corner, Miro Heiskanen, who represented the Finland group in the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics, flipped it back to center. The Finns don't have a lot of possession time thus far, but they are doing a good job nullifying these zone entries for Canada, forcing them to a dump and chase kind of game rather than their controlled zone entries, which these skilled players much rather would have. As Finland just forcing Canada to go back and forth in neutral ice here. But now the Ottawa Senator, Nick Matenpalo with the puck, turned it back over on the near side, but it's going to be called for an offside as Tom Wilson came back in a little too quickly on the near wing. So with that stoppage with 18:04 to go in the first period, here's how Team Finland aligns in this game with new lines. As on the top line, Lehkonen will join Aho and Rantanen, and then it'll be Rupe Hintz with Mikael Granlund and Teuvo Teravainen, and Tom Lundell with Kakko and Luosterainen. They started this game, and then Eric Haula between Yoel Armia and Yoel Kiviranta. Oliver Kapanen, the 13th forward. So Armia and the fourth line out there for Team Finland as they would a neutral zone draw and flip it into the far corner of the Canadian zone. It's forced a turnover off the stick there of Tays by Armia, and now on the near wing, moving it up and not out of Suzuki. Here's Yoki Haru with the shot, fought off with the right pad of Binnington, as he will allow no rebound, as he holds that for a whistle. And Finland D pairings to round this out. It's Heiskanen with Lindell, the Dallas defenseman, Mikkola with Rasmus Ristolainen, Oli Mata with Nick Montipalo, and then Henry Yoki Haru is the 7th defenseman in this game. So Canada getting fresh legs on the ice as Suzuki heads off the ice, as he got that amazing deflection to tie the game at 3 in the quarterfinal against Czechia on the initial shot from Devon Tays, and he got the equalizer, and of course Marner winning it in overtime to get Canada to this point and avoiding what would have been a very, very big upset. in that game on Wednesday. They win a D-zone draw, and McCarr controls in between the circles. He'll play it out to center, where Wilson will steer it into the finish end. At the near circle, Mikkola tried to play it up, but not out. McDavid to the slot. Celebrini fanned on a shot. He's tied up. Hintz will take it. Granlund will move it ahead, and Teravainen nudges it back at his own blue line for Ristolainen, who gave a good reverse hit on a Canadian. Couldn't quite get a number as to who received that hit, but Team Canada will take back over with the free puck in their own zone. McCarr from the far corner to the finished blue line for Celebrini. Near wing David threw it in front, and Celebrini shut down by Saros as Team Canada, with all the speed, got into the finish zone in the blink of an eye. And McDavid and Celebrini, who have found chemistry here together in this tournament, almost connect for another. As Macklin Celebrini scored that opening goal against Czechia and added 2 assists in the quarterfinal. And Connor McDavid in this tournament, 2 goals, 9 assists for 11 points. That's good to lead Canada, obviously, in points. He's just been a machine and has a very physical presence to his game as well. Face off to the left of Saros, won by Lundell. Be fish hooked out from the far corner by Heiskanen, and it'll go all the way into the near corner of the Canadian zone. Battling for it's Lundell, taking it away from Bennett. Now pressured by Doughty, loses the puck in the corner. Bennett will move it up the near wall, but not out. Kept by Lundell. His long flip shot blocked in the slot, came to the far wall for Heiskanen. Heiskanen will play it behind the Canadian goal in the far corner, trying to locate its Kakko and Theodore. Puck came to Reinhart, got it just enough in front of him for Marchand to take it, and now gave it back to Reinhart through center. On the far wing, he'll chip it from the red line into the corner of the finish zone. In the far corner, down to our left, as the Canadians attack right to left, the puck pinballs back out to center, and the Finns, who are attacking left to right in this first period, are heading to change. So McCarr takes back over in his own zone, played it into neutral ice on the near wing for Devon Toews to snap it in. No relation to Jonathan Toews, as most of you probably do know at this point, but if you don't, no relation between Devon and Jonathan. In the near corner of the Canadian zone, it is Toews, moved it up for McKinnon. He couldn't grab it. Here's Yoki Haru, a flip shot deflected and a save made by Binnington. Rebound to the far wall will be moved out to center on its own. McKinnon now tied up with Lehkonen, teammates in Colorado, and Lehkonen wins that battle as he plays the puck back to Olli Maatta, and the Finns make a change and reset with 4.5 played in the first period. On the near wing, here's Erik Haula chipping it into the near corner and going after it. Joel Kiviranta. Kiviranta, a Game 7 hat trick and overtime winner against the Colorado Avalanche, whom he now plays for. Back when he was on the Dallas Stars in 2020, couldn't enter the zone on the near side, so the Finns will reset. Maatta between the circles in his own zone with 15:15 to go in a scoreless first period. Shots even at 2 apiece, as in between the benches now, Yoel Armia from the Los Angeles Kings will play a puck behind the Canadian cage. It'll be grabbed again by Harley, who glides with speed up through neutral ice. Got the red line, snapped it in. Around the goal it'll go. Bounced to Stone at the far circle, but too hot to handle. Free now in the slot. Poked away by Granlund. It comes out to center. Kick to the stick by the Duck. Played it on the far wall, and in comes a shot there by Hintz and a save by Binnington. Shot there by Hintz from the far circle, and the puck comes back out from the far point to center. And now it looks like the Finns wanted to touch it, even though Mikkola was still offside. So the whistle ended up blowing. Don't think they were aware of that. So a stoppage there with over 5 minutes now played in this first period. If you're enjoying the stream, thank you for stopping by. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're enjoying your stay. There's Tom Wilson now rejoining his group on the ice with McDavid and Celebrini. As Tom Wilson, a goal and 2 assists in this tournament, but 29 penalty minutes. No surprise there, as even in a tournament without fighting, Wilson's managed to rack up the penalty minutes, and he's approaching 30 minutes now in this tournament. Team Canada possesses, though, in neutral ice. As Celebrini played it up the near wall for McDavid, but it was too far in front of him. So Ristolainen goes across from Mikkola as the Finns take back over. In front of the Canada bench, Lehkonen will snap one in that went on goal, and Binnington had to deal with. Now it's back out through center and on the near wall, Celebrini. Celebrini take the hit into the near corner by Mikkola as he goes down to the ice. Free puck on the near wall for Rantanen. Goes back across for his defenseman Mikkola, who's shy of the red line when dumping it in, but Lindell will nullify the icing as the linesman waved it off, though I don't think he should have, as Devon Toews was definitely going to beat that out. McCarr takes back over for Canada, though, nonetheless, flicked it in between the benches, and it goes off a Canadian glove on the bench, and that will create a stoppage in play there. as we get a stoppage with under 14 minutes to go in the first period of this men's ice hockey semifinal. Still scoreless between Finland and Canada. Back in a moment. Welcome back into the 2026 Winter Olympics with Jaric Rubel here on YouTube. Scoreless between Canada and Finland in the semifinals thus far. First of two games I'll be bringing for you this afternoon, as I'll have Slovakia and the United States at 3 Eastern and 2 Central coming up later today, and they'll meet the winner of this game. The winner of that game will meet the winner of this game in the gold medal game on Sunday. So you can see on the bottom of the screen here all the what's at stake you could read for yourself. So you'll find out who will play who and when those games will be. As a face-off at center between McDavid and Haula will be won by Erik Haula. He played it in on the near wing, but Doughty will chip it back out. Doughty in his third Olympics played in the 2010 and 2014 tournaments. This should be his last, as now McDavid will burst speed up on the near wing. Button hooks at the circle in the finish zone, played it back to the point for Sanheim's shot that didn't make it to the net. Along the near boards, it's still McDavid, the Canadian captain, dropped it in. Sanheim's shot went over the crossbar, as now in the far corner, Celebrini locates. Played it this way, at the circle, it's Sanheim. Sanheim on top of the paint, and a good defensive stick there by the Finns, as a good job to lift the stick of Wilson prevented a scoring opportunity. Puck back out to center now as Doughty resets and the Canadians make changes, as do the Finns, with 13:10 to go in the first period. Jaric Rubel here with you on my YouTube channel, as Saros behind his own net for Team Finland played it up the far wall. Lundell will take it, played it ahead for Luosterainen. Kuhlman into the far corner, centered, and Lundell a flip shot that's gloved by Binnington. It was a bit of a fluttering shot by Lundell, but Binnington able to stay with it the whole way and get the glove on it for the whistle. Fifth shot on goal of the game for the Finns, as they're leading the shot count 5-3, as it was Erik Haula who had the brilliant stick lift on Tom Wilson, as I couldn't quite get the number quick enough as the camera moved out of the frame. But a beautiful defensive stick lift by Haula to prevent a Wilson tap-in. Face off to the right of Binnington, won by Nathan McKinnon, and Makar will play it up on the far wall. Taves had trouble with it, turned it over on the re-entry on the near wall at Mikko Rantanen. Mikko Rantanen against his former teammate Cale Makar. Had it taken away, but it's still in possession of the Finns. Aho near circle in front. Tipped by Rantanen. It might have hit the post. Rebound behind the goal. Aho couldn't get it to Rantanen, who was down on his knees. Meanwhile, Devon Taves up the near wall. Got it to McKinnon, who backhanded it out on the near side. And in front of the penalty box is Joki Harju. On the reset near wall, Lehkonen. To the near corner in the Canadian zone. Rantanen across, and a one-timer got blocked by the stick of Horvat off Joki Harju's stick. On the far wall out to center, it's Jarvis getting the red line, tipping one into the near corner now of the finish zone. Gave Mata a huge rough ride into the near corner as he goes down. Puck meanwhile back to center as Rantanen will flip it back into the near corner of the Canadian zone. Now a heavy hit delivered by Gronlund, and Nick Suzuki is in the near side. The puck will be taken by Suzuki, and out to center it'll go. It'll be Marner chipping it into the near side. Out of the trapezoid, Saros wanted to play it, but he can't. In the near corner, Mikkola put it up the boards, and out to center it'll go as Gronlund finds hits. Dropped it off at the logo from Mikkola straight away over the Canadian line. His shot blocked by the skate of Parayko, and Harley takes back over. To the red line for Suzuki, tipped it on the far wall by Marner. Into the finish zone it goes as Mikkola backhands it behind the goal to Ristolainen on the near side. Granlund will chip it off the glass, but it doesn't get out. Back behind the goal, Saros will play it. Ristolainen now has Marner in his kitchen, but gets away from him. Z-skates straight away to center. Got the red line and snapped it in as the Finns make changes. And a turnover, and in the far circle with a shot and a save, Binnington. Off of Lundell's try, off a bad bounce off the far corner boards. Meanwhile, here comes Canada out the center. On the far wing, Celebrini falling in with a shot, and he had it blocked to the near side off of Luosterainen's skate. He backhands it to center for Team Finland, and it rolls into the Canadian zone far wing. Shea Theodore will get on it now behind his own net from the trapezoid. Up the near wall, he plays it. It eludes McDavid. It goes all the way down. No icing, excuse me. As Lindell on the near wall will play it back out to Heiskanen, and at center, he'll chip it in. So with 10:43 to go in the first, Team Finland back in the Canadian zone. On the near wall, Armia chipped it up to the point, and it's sent back down low again by Kiviranta. As now Haula back on the near side will fling it around to the far corner. Ramada stashes at it, and now Armia's trying to battle with Devontae's for this loose puck. As a four-man battle along the far boards ensues, it comes free but to Marchand, and Canada takes back over. Makar at the near circle goes to the far for his teammate in Taze. And up straight ahead now it's Bennett. Had it poke checked off his blade, but it came right to Harley. Now it goes this way to Marchand near wing over the finish line. And now a penalty's coming up here. And I think it's going to go on Team Canada, as with 10:09 to go in the first period, Eric Furlat makes the call. And it's going to be on Travis Sanheim. And Team Finland will get the game's first power play. So we'll see on the replay here what exactly it was that happened. And no, it was too many. This happened again. I never get the too many men on the ice referee signal. It's 6. He puts the 5 up in the thumb. I mean 6. I'm like, oh, number 6, Travis Sanheim. No. Too many men on the ice for Team Canada. I caught myself last year. It fooled me like every time it happened. Bennett's going to be the one to serve it. But something about that always confuses me. Don't know how I haven't learned at this point. But Team Finland to the power play, as they'll get an opportunity here to strike first, out shooting Canada 7-3 here in the first half of this first period. To the back, it's won by Aho at Heiskanen's far point. Gave it to Granlund on the far wall, played it down around the goal. It was meant to be for Armia, but instead came up the near wall and out the center. So now the Finns have to reset. As this power play is powered by YouTube. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Is at the near wall in the Canadian zone. It's Rantanen, the Dallas Star. Trades it for the other star, Heiskanen. To the former star, Granlund. Back to Heiskanen at the near point. Now at the near circle, it's Rantanen. To the near corner, Aho. 30 seconds gone by in this power play. Rantanen goes across, and a tip by Granlund goes over the crossbar. Hagel in the far corner. A backhand went out for Canada at center. As they clear, 40 seconds killed off. They're killing penalties at a 77% rate in this tournament. Not great, as a lot of teams have been over 90%, at least that I've seen in this tournament. As on the far wall, re-entering Granlund. Got upended by Stone. He chips it out to center, and it'll roll all the way into the finish zone in the near corner. As now Marner goes after it against Heiskanen. Heiskanen's able to play it back with under a minute to go now on the Finn power play. As Rope Hintz wanted to drop it to Heiskanen. He was going for a change, and it had to be grabbed by Lehkonen. As now here comes the Colorado Avalanche's Arturi Lehkonen. Scored back-to-back seasons with conference-clinching goals in overtime in 21 for the Canadians and in 22 for the Avalanche. Nothing doing, though, on that zone entry for Team Finland. So Mark Stone will send it back the other way for Canada. He'll head to change. 30 seconds left on the Finnish power play as Lindell played it on the near wall for Hintz to chip it into the Canadian zone. Out to get it's Doughty in the near corner, or I should say Makar. Doughty wears 89, not 8. Makar, though, from behind his own net, plays it off the near wall. It goes all the way down the ice, and a Baker's dozen remains on the Finnish power play that could perhaps have one more rush as Ristolainen collects. Heads up the near wall, leaves it at his own blue line. It's grabbed by Mikkola. Up ahead it goes. Lundell got upended, pass out the center, and here comes Team Canada as penalty time expires. On the near wings, Marchand tried a shot that rode the stick of Ristolainen and went out of the far corner, out of play. So 8:03 remaining in period number 1. Still scoreless in this semifinal game. A trip to the gold medal game is on the line. Finland and Canada looking to break the ice. back here in Milan, Italy. My name's Jaric Rubel. So glad you joined me here on the Ultimate Sports Watchalongs, as that's I think what we're going to try to rebrand this whole thing to, as perhaps the whole thought of a network isn't what YouTube likes, so I think we're going to try and rebrand that to the Ultimate Sports Watchalong, something like that. But if you were in the streams the last couple of days, you'll realize how miserable OBS was acting for me and how awful of a watch it was. Look how fluid it looks on YouTube now. The frames are good. I look good. This is all good. I'm glad we sorted this out. I took the time to really figure out the issue. I got not smart enough during the first half of the season, so I really went into the old Google search machine and figured out how to solve all these issues, and thankfully I sorted it all out, and hopefully the quality's good for you guys. So we're with 8:03 remaining in this first period. Canada and Finland scoreless in this semifinal game, as each team fresh off an overtime win in the quarterfinal. As in the quarterfinal for Finland, they were down 2-0 late to Switzerland, and Sebastian Aho and Miro Heiskanen were able to tie the game late. And then in overtime, for Team Finland, Arturi Lehkonen was able to send them into the semifinals, as he's so clutch in overtime, as I mentioned. And I'll get to Canada's part here in a moment, but they lose a D-zone draw, or win an O-zone draw, I should say. And it'll be played out to center by Finland. Sandheim will chase back, but Team Canada, they were really put to the limits against Czechia on Wednesday. They trailed 2-1 and 3-2 in that game, and late in that game, they were down 3-2 before Suzuki got the tying goal. And they were all talking about how they did not want that to be Sid's last Olympic game, and they don't want this to be, or they don't want Sid to not play another one, so they are obviously trying to get to the gold medal game and hope that Sid would be good to go, as he was just listed as day-to-day after that injury, after taking the hit by Gudas on Wednesday. So 20 seconds, or I should say 7 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this first period. Canada has not had a shot on goal in at least the last 7 to 8 minutes of game time, as they'll work through center here, going right to left. On the far wall, Suzuki over the finish line. Button hooks at the far half boards, played it on his backhand to Parayko at the far point. He flipped it to the trapezoid. Marner couldn't play it as it rolled to the near wall, and Armia flipped it out to center for Team Finland. Car crash on the near side as Kiviranta and Suzuki both go down. In front of the penalty boxes, Kiviranta's with it. Might have been offsides, but we play on, as behind the Canadian goal, Parayko fish hooked it up the far wall. Marner's tied up with Lindell, but there to take it is Harley, and Team Canada will get out without a hassle. On the near wall, it is Parayko with a big size advantage against Aho, as he outmuscled him and backhanded one into the finish zone. He heads to change. Lindell from behind his own net got it out to center, and at the logo is Rantanen. He got it taken away, though, by Taze as he entered the Canadian line. And now McDavid will go on the near boards for Makar. He races over the red and the blue. Had it taken away, though, by Mata, and now Mata up the far wall turned it over to McDavid. McDavid chipped one that goes back out the center. Thought it might have went to the finish bench, but it's in neutral ice. It's now on the near side, Makar for Celebrini. Played it into the near corner. It's Tom Wilson. Back for Celebrini. Chipped it off the end boards. McDavid couldn't play it as it bounced over his stick. And Gronlund's able to get it out to center. And the Finns will change. 5:50 remaining in this first period. Team Canada still stuck on 3 shots on goal, as Finland doing such a good job in neutral ice to prevent anything off the rush, as McKinnon's back in on the near wing. Canada trying to create offense in the near corner, trying to chip at its McKinnon, but Hintz did a good job to deflect that with his stick. In the near corner still, Hintzel backhanded up the wall. Harley pinching, can't keep it. Gronlund gets it out, and Canada has to reset. In front of the penalty boxes, Harley's tied up with Gronlund. McKinnon comes up with the puck. He's being pressured. He lost it. And out to center it'll go, and he still manages to poke it over the finish line on the far wall past Gronlund, but they're all still tied up, as this puck's just stuck on the far wall. Finally, it comes free at the red line to Theodore, who hoists one into the near corner. Everybody heads to change, so we're in the final 5 minutes now of period 1. Jaric Rubel here with you on my YouTube channel. So glad you joined me for the first of 2 semifinal games today. Slovakia and the United States at 3 Eastern, 2 Central, as the Canadians and Finns will figure out who wins this and who they will wait for in the gold medal game, as Team Finland now has iced the puck as Doughty chases back. So a whistle here with about 4.5 remaining in the opening period. So off the reseeding, Finland was listed as the 4 seed, Slovakia as the 3 seed. So that's how we came to the conclusion of these matchups here, as after the quarterfinals, the Olympics always reseed their teams, and that's what they came up with. And it makes sense to me. So McKinnon and Haula to the left of Saros, won by McKinnon. Straight away, here's Theodore on the near wing. Sanheim put it in front. It's tipped. It popped up in the air. Goes to the far corner. McDavid can't get it. Sanheim will on the far half boards. Played it behind to the trapezoid. Salaberrini will do a good job to box out Lindell. Chipped it on his backhand to the half boards. McKinnon on the near side. Up to the left point, Theodore. Slid it across to Sanheim. Sanheim now played it back behind the net. 3 Canadian forwards down low. McKinnon out of the far corner on his backhand. Pivots to his forehand. Threw it on net and it hit the crossbar. Came back up the near side as Nathan McKinnon lulled Saros to sleep. He was fully expecting pass and he tried to go short side upstairs from the far circle and he hit the crossbar. Nifty stuff there from the dog, but Saros has to thank his iron for some help. So Finland, through neutral ice, will snap it back into the Canadian zone thanks to Kakko. And Harley now in the near corner will go cross ice in front of the bench for Suzuki. Parayko now with it as it bounced off Suzuki's stick, has it bounce into the Finnish zone off a skate. So behind the Finnish goal in the far corner, it's met by Mata. Up ahead it goes for Lundell. Straight away, Montempalo had it poked off his stick, but Lundell's there to reset. So he'll go to Mata in the defensive zone. Played it back in front of the penalty boxes where it'll be sent on in by Lehkonen. But Harley will collect back and he'll wait for his mates to change with 3:16 to go in the first. Shout out Stone Cold as Harley at his own blue line goes straight ahead for Bennett over the finish line with a shot and a glove save. Saros as he goes barreling into Saros, and Saros is not going to take that as Saros immediately went after Bennett but realized he might take a penalty as the Olympics are a bit different. And I want to get a replay because it all happened so fast. I felt like Bennett did that himself, as Mikkola was the one tied up with them. Those two were teammates in Florida, and you are playing tough, but something tells me Mikkola doesn't have the reputation Bennett has as to how Bennett went, flying into UC Saros. It wasn't just a collision. It was a pretty gnarly one, and it looks like they're going to send us to break, and we won't get a commercial or a replay. So I'll be back in 60 seconds. You're listening to the men's ice hockey semifinal from the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympic Games, Canada and Finland. Scoreless thus far. Welcome back into the 2026 Winter Olympics. Jaric Rubel hanging out with you here on YouTube. As Sam Bennett has been issued a penalty, there's no update on the app yet or on my screen as to how many minutes it's going to be and if Mikkola's in the box, but it's going to be a 2-minute minor as Finland wins off the draw. Teravainen scores! Teuvo Teravainen off the draw, and Finland strikes first. So I beg your pardon, it was Mikko Rantanen off the draw, 96, not 86, as off it was a set face-off play. Aho played it right to Rantanen, and he let it go right over the glove of Binnington. Not even any time to get set for the Canadian players. And Mikko Rantanen has just put the Finns up 1-0 on his 16th goal in 22 games versus Jordan Binnington. And Team Finland with the 1-0 advantage on the power play goal. So right away, no time to settle in for the Canadians on the PK, as they've given up yet another power play goal in this tournament, and now they've iced the puck off the ensuing faceoff. So just a strong wrist shot from Rantanen. It was from the far faceoff circle, and he just lifted it over Binnington's glove, and that's his second goal and 6th point of the tournament, as that puck came right to him, as it was on edge when he shot it, and that's what caused the elevation, and he was able to get it upstairs on Binnington. Face off to Binnington's right, controlled by the Finns, as it's played behind the goal line, and now Gronlund trying to get to it, couldn't though, as it's taken away by Harley. Played up the near boards for Celebrity, who gets it out the center, but Heiskanen takes back over. He'll go across now to Lindell. Up the far wing, he sends it. It's tipped in by Lehkonen. Behind the goal, Binnington backhanded it to the far boards, and it's grabbed by Doughty. Up it comes for McDavid with speed on the far wall. Gonna try and do it himself. McDavid far circle with the shot in and out of the glove of Saros. Centered it now for Wilson on his own rebound. He got tied up by Teravainen in the slot. Now Teravainen chipped it up the near boards. It'll be Ristolainen poking at it, but it came to Celebrity. Good jolt he gave to Teravainen. Meanwhile, on the near corner, Ristolainen's hassled by Celebrity, but stays with it. Goes to the far wall for Mikkola. Out the center, Lundell. Kitty corners it to the far corner. McCarl hack at it. Came to Suzuki, who turned it over to Luosterainen. Luosterainen lost it. Now it came in the slot in the Canadian zone for Tays with 105 seconds remaining in the first period. The Finns up 1-0 on the opening goal. Is now here's Suzuki playing it back to the point for Makar in the finish zone. Makar circling at the far point. Goes this way for Tays. Tays along wrist shot deflected. Goes wide to the far post. Kakko now on the far wall. Got it out to center. And he controls as he gets the red line. Couldn't get it past the Canadian blue, though, as Makar takes back over. This way for Tays, but his team's changing, so he goes back. It's collected by McKinnon now. Chipped it near wall Horvat. Horvat trying to glide in past Yoki Haru. Can't shake him off. Puck rolls to the trapezoid. Now a good job by Jarvis, but now taken back by Mata as they battled hard, but the Finns won that one. Far wall's Rantanen. Rantanen over the Canadian line. Dropped it Lehkonen with a shot off the side of the net on the far side. Pinballs to the near corner where Harley will collect in the final minute now of period number 1. He played it near side McKinnon. One hand on his stick to the near corner of the finish zone. One-armed it to the trapezoid where it pinballs to Jarvis in the far corner. He couldn't get past Oli Mata, who moved it up the far wall, trying to get it along into neutral ice as Rantanen, and he cannot. Horvat stashed it back along the far boards. It's tied up under the skate of Jarvis and now redirected back out to center in the final half minute. Here's Harley on the redirect. Played it this way for Sanheim, who backhands it in as the Canadians change. Behind the goal, Saros left it for Lindell. Lindell up the far boards. It rolls all the way down on edge. This might be an icing, as it will not be. We're going to play on, says the linesman. So McDavid will leave for Doughty. Doughty straight away in his own zone. Played it up ahead. It deflects into the finish end. McDavid on it first near quarter. They're going to call in offsides as McDavid goes palms up and is not happy about that, as he kind of just has a little grin that's not a grin on his face. He's just kind of one of those, I'll keep to myself, I'm not a fan of that call kind of things, as it'll be a neutral zone faceoff coming up with 11 seconds left. So the finished goal belonging to Rantanen from Aho, a power play goal off the faceoff. And it's the only goal in this period so far. Face off to the right of Binnington, as I guess that makes sense as the pass came from the defensive zone. Will be won by the Canadians, and out to center comes McDavid. A shot from the blue line stopped by Saros as he clears it to the far corner. Time expires in the first, and Team Finland with a 1-0 lead through 20 minutes, courtesy Mikko Rantanen, his second of the tournament, and he owns Binnington as he's now got 16 goals in 22 games versus Binner, as that is how Finland leads it in this one. So shots on goal in that first period tied at 7, as Finland, though, owns the 1-0 advantage. Mikko Rantanen, the marker, his second of the tournament from Aho, and Aho now with assist number 1 for him in this tournament, as he had just 3 goals coming into it prior. That sends us to intermission. Stick around as the middle period is coming up on the Ultimate Sports Watchalongs here on YouTube, as that'll get interesting to say. Maybe that's not going to stick. Maybe we'll try and think of something that's a little more creative, but I think if we need a key word there, maybe that's going to be the one. But thank you for hanging out in this first period. I'll certainly be back for the second, as it's 18 minutes from now. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the 2026 Winter Olympics men's ice hockey semifinal. Finland up over Canada, 1-0. Welcome back into Milan for the start of the second period of the 2026 men's ice hockey semifinal here in the Winter Olympics. My name's Jaric Rubel. Glad you're with me here live on YouTube as Team Canada is going to need to become the first team to record consecutive playoff comeback wins in the Olympics with NHL participation in order to go on to the gold medal game. Only two teams have done so in any round before, as it was Team Switzerland in 2010 and Team Russia in 1998, but no time has it ever happened in a playoff round. Mikko Rantanen opened the scoring in this game on the power play for Team Finland as he got a second goal of the tournament. He now leads Team Finland skaters in points with 6 as he passes Arturi Lehkonen there. Finland owns a 2-0 record when scoring first in this tournament. And Rantanen becomes the 8th player to score multiple goals in this tournament for Team Finland, the most the country has featured in a single tournament with NHL players. That goes back to 2014 when they had 7 in that tournament. So we're set for second period action here between Finland and Canada, as Team Canada is going to need to go to the drawing board here in this. Well, they hope they have through the intermission, as they have been cut down in terms of their controlled zone entries, as Team Finland is doing a great job through neutral ice, preventing any clean entries for Team Canada and allowing them to get set up. They're making life very difficult on these star forwards in the red and black. So Bennett against Lundell for the faceoff to begin period 2. Canada going left to right in this period. Finland going right to left. Again, Team Canada in the red jerseys with the white lettering and numbers. Finland in the blue, or in the white with the blue stripes and the blue numbering. As now we are underway. And Team Canada will play the puck into the Finland zone. It'll be fish hooked right back out. We'll get an icing 15 seconds into this period as Ristolainen put it all the way down the ice. So the Canadians will get an ozone draw coming up here. And John Cooper kind of has a look of uh-oh on his face, as that's the kind of body language I'm getting from him. And it was hard to read his body language when he was dressed the way he was during the Stadium Series game with the Tampa Bay Lightning back in early February. And the Lightning came back to win that game and responded well after a bad first period. So we'll see how Canada responds here. As off the draw, Theodore one-timer blocked by Luosterainen, came back to Hagel. Now up top, here's Theodore again. He'll bring it. It's blocked again as Finland here. Kiviranta and that's Luosterainen given the bodies as at the far circle. Harley snapped one across this way to the near for Bennett. Bennett being defended by Luosterainen, shook him off, got the puck back up to the near point. Harley, or I should say Theodore straight away. Across it goes Harley. A shot goes over the crossbar and got the glass. Now Mikkola for Finland trying to get it out. Can't. Marchand keeps it. He drops it back now. It's played from Hagel to this way for Theodore. His shot rode the stick of Mikkola and got the glass. Came along the far boards. Harley played it back in behind. Bennett sandwiched off the puck. Now it came to Lundell from the far corner in his own zone. He backhands it all the way down. McCarr could have played it, so they're not going to rule an icing, as now McCarr will play it from behind his own net, and up he sends it. It'll be tipped by Jarvis, but right onto Lindell's stick for Finland. Played it to the logo where Teravainen chipped it into the Canadian zone. Behind the goal, the puck will go and be played by Binnington. For McCarr now, send it back this way past the penalty boxes. That'll be grabbed by McKinnon. Up it goes for Jarvis, who's hit by Lindell as he entered the Finland zone. In the near corner, Heiskanen trying to pry it free from Jarvis. Horvat poking at it along with Hintz. Comes free behind the finished goal now where Lindell backhanded one up, but McCarr kept it. Back behind the goal, it'll go for Horvat. Bo Horvat looking, centering, couldn't get it to Jarvis as it's intercepted by Teravainen. Cleared up but not out. Tays a shot, punched by the blocker Asaros to the far wall. Nice save by the Finnish netminder, his 10th of the game. So on the reset back at center, here's McCarr. As the Canadians change, he sends it into the near corner. The defenseman on his pairing, Tays, goes after it. Played it in the trapezoid, McKinnon. McKinnon out of the far corner, looking for somewhere to go. Nathan McKinnon threaded a needle to the near wing and playing it off the wall is McCarr. McCarr back skating to the right point, give it to Celebrini, who now goes to the point. He'll ring it around behind the goal. McDavid left it for Wilson in the far corner. He flipped it back to McCarr at the point, but it overskates, or bounces over his skate, I should say. And the Canadians have to touch back up. On the reset as the Finns only get 2 bodies off the ice to change. Here's Wilson on the far wall. Lost it. Rantanen takes it. He'll send it out as far as the red line, and Hintz is able to change. Now only 2 dead-legged Finland's out on the ice. It's the deep pairing of Lindell and Heiskanen. Canadians still on the attack. Near circle, Celebrini, a shot that whistled through the blue paint all the way down the ice, down the far boards. The Finns will be able to change their D pairings now as the delayed penalty's coming up on Finland. Binnington races to the bench. The penalty was behind the play. I just saw Binnington scoot out of the paint. Now here comes McDavid straight away, stripped of it at the line by Aho. And the whistle goes, and Team Canada will get a power play opportunity. As we take a look on the bench, it seems like Hintz is cut on the lip for Team Finland, as it was a collision that neither player saw between Hintz and McKinnon as they went hard into each other in the Finnish zone out near the blue line. And it looks like the penalty here is going to be on Aho for upending Wilson as he was breaking towards the blue paint. So Hintz and McKinnon, a lethal collision. Hintz might be losing some chiclets here as they're checking his bottom teeth, as Aho will sit for a trip. In Canada, to their first power play here today, a chance to tie the game. Haula against McDavid at the face-off circle. Face-off is going to be won by Haula. Ristolainen sends it up and down the ice. And Canada will chase back. Their power play at 41.5% this tournament. McCarr on it. He's out there with McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini, and Reinhart. Reinhart on the near wall from McDavid. Had it stripped. It's sent down the ice and now breaking towards it. Holla. He's going to get a shorthanded breakaway up the near wing. He's in a backhander. He scores! Eric Haula, shorthanded goal, and the Finns are up 2-0 over the Canadians. McDavid tried to play the puck to Reinhart on the near side on the zone entry, and it came out to center. Nobody was back for the Canadians as Erik Haula had an absolute break on the Yoel Armia clear, and he came up the near boards into the slot and backhanded one over the glove of Jordan Binnington, as the Finns have now gone up 2 in the semis with a chance to send Canada to the bronze medal tournament. But plenty of time left in this game. So the Canadians still on the power play following that shorthanded goal by Haula, as they control now off the draw, and they'll be in their own end to start up a rush. Here's McDavid dropping it for Marner. Marner up the near wing for Stone, who tips it in. Saros out of his net to play it. Forehand shot off the near wing. Can't clear as it hits Stone in the shoulder. Down along the near half boards to our right in the Finnish zone. It squirts up to Marner at the right point. Back to the near circle. It's Marchand. Minute 9 to go on the power play. Straightaways Marner. Pirouettes up near the circles. Goes far wall to Theodore, who plays it behind. Stone now plays it back to Marner along the far half boards. Gives it back to Stone, driving on top of the net. Can't get a shot through as the puck squirts back out. Nobody at the far point, and it goes through neutral. Theodore must skate back. The Finns trying to change on the fly. The Canadians trying to catch him in it. They won't, as Theodore just has to shoot it back in from the near boards to the far corner. It's gloved down by Horvat, fresh on the ice. Around it goes to the near wall in the Finnish zone, where it's not whacked out the center. Theodore kept the clearing attempt by Lindell. Sent it back behind the goal. It rolls to the far corner. Marchand trying to collect. He's stick checked by Armia. Meanwhile, the puck came to Haula in the slot. He'll backhand it all the way down the ice, and 25 seconds remain on the Canadian power play, down 2-0 to Team Finland. Here's McDavid on the push and back entry. Over the red line, now the Blues straight away. McDavid, far wing, Celebrity shot. Blocker saved by Saros. Rebound to the far corner. Final 10 on this power play for Canada, as Mikkola gets it on behind the trapezoid and sends it all the way down the ice. And that will do it for the Canadian power play, as they now have gone 0 for 1 in this game, down 2-0, but still in the zone. Here's McDavid for Celebrity. Far circle, it hopped off his skate, but it stays in on the far wall. McDavid can't play it to Makar at the point as it comes out to center, and the Canadians must tag up. 5.5 played so far here in period 2. Jaric Rubel with you here on YouTube as the Finns lead the Canadians 2-0. Team Canada now has just iced the puck, as Finland will get an offensive zone face-off coming up, as Erik Haula on that latest penalty kill for Finland with a short-handed breakaway marker, as he was focused as he went in on Binnington, and Binnington gave him all the room on the glove side to where his body had no chance to get across. It was only his left arm, and Haula over the glove gave Finland a 2-0 lead. Off the draw here, pass slid across to the far point, a shot on net, going to be swallowed up by Binnington off the stick of Montenpalo. So another face-off coming up here to Binner's right. Rough year for him in St. Louis, 8-17-6 this season. He's got the third worst save percentage in the NHL. He's got a 3.65 goals against average and an 864 save percentage. And after a brilliant end to last year in the regular season and overall a good playoff against Winnipeg, Binner struggling this year. Finland wins the draw to his left. To the back, it's Joki Harju. He puts one on a platter in the trapezoid for Mikko Rantanen. Centered one. Got the stick lifted was Lehkonen. Kept at the left point, though, Mata. Across it goes for Joki Harju, who plays it back behind the goal. Puck free low to Jarvis in the near corner. He has an outlet pass out to Parayko on the far wall into the Finnish zone. Backhands one behind the goal that Saros is out to play. He'll stick it up the near boards. Jarvis there to glove it, though, as he played it back behind the goal to Horvat. On the far wall, the Finns will get it out. Joki Harju played it out the center. Rolling on the near wall, it'll be poked in by Aho. To the Canadian trapezoid it goes. Binnington out to play it, as now he'll have it left in behind for Parayko, as the Canadians make changes with 13:45 to go here in a period 2. Again, Jaric Rubel here with you on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you're enjoying what you're hearing, as Parayko played it into the Finnish zone off a Finn skate, and behind the net, Lindell's pressured off the puck by Bennett, but it came to the near side, and Haula, who just scored the goal, will skate out to center. Backhanded it near wall for Armia to tip it in. Doughty will get on it first. Looks like Armia didn't tip it. They're whistling it down for an icing, and the whistle goes with 13:22 in the second period, and a face-off coming back in the D zone now for the Finns, as Haula shakes his head not liking the call. And now I think that 2-0 goal woke up Team Canada to some extent, as John Cooper looked from a little dumbfounded at the start of period 2 to now he looks intense. He looks like he's locked in, like what just happened? Like, come on, boys. As his demeanor, I could just see on his face, is changing throughout the course of this game. Face-off one to the left of Saros at the near point. Doughty a flip shot, tip, save Saros as it gets him in the breadbasket. There is plenty of traffic out in front, more white sweaters than there were red. And Saros is able to come up with that stop, and that'll send us to our first break of the middle period, with the Finns leading 2-0 in the semifinals over dreaded Team Canada, the oh-so-feared Team Canada. Jaric Rubel back with you here in this semi-final matchup between Finland and Canada, in which Team Finland, special teams has mattered. They're up 2-0 in this game. A power play goal by Mikko Rantanen, a shorthanded goal by Erik Haula, and that's where things stand at this moment in time. You can see in the bottom right corner of your screen, Tuesday Night Hockey will make its long-awaited return on March the 3rd, as it'll be the Mammoth taking on the Capitals in an important cross-conference matchup for these two teams. Utah trying to keep the pace in the Western Conference playoff race as they're holding the first wild card spot. The Capitals, they need some work to do. They've struggled the last couple of months as they've fallen out of the playoff picture, as they're trying to claw back in, as they are 5 points back of Pittsburgh. So face off to the left of Saros here, coming up between Lundell and McKinnon, as there is 13-14 to go in the second period. Lundell a face-off win. It'll be flipped out by Heiskanen. It'll be met at the Canadian blue line by Kakko, who backhands it into the far corner. Puck kicks around and eventually gets grabbed by McDavid. Now he gives it to Makar, who motors up ahead through center over the logo on the blue line. Near wing in the finish zone, Celebrity in the slot, bounced off the stick of Devon Toews, and now Lundell backhands one to center. McDavid takes a look over his shoulder and collects. Near wing, it's Makar, goes across out of the reach of McKinnon as it banked off the far boards in front of him. Behind the finished goal it goes as Heiskanen played it up the near side, came back to Makar, and now Doughty back to Makar, who's through neutral at the red line, banked it in off the far boards into the finish zone, took a funny bounce. Saros wasn't aware of where it was, but Heiskanen able to cleanly play it on his backhand and shuffleboard it up the far boards, and down the ice it'll go, no icing, as the Finns will get a change. 12:20 to go in the second period. Doughty at his own blue line near wing, skates out to the logo, goes between the benches for Sanheim, who wrists one in. Saros aggressively out to play it like Pecorine would, the man he took over for in Nashville, always played the puck, as the puck's free in the slot for Gronlund after a bad Canadian pass got it to him, and he chipped it off the near wing to center, and Team Finland will reset. Teravainen will send it on in. Behind the goal is Binnington to play it. Doughty still out there. Will slingshot it up the far wing. Be dropped by Stone and neutralized. Kick to the stick by Suzuki, who pokes it over the finish line. Lindell on it first in the far corner. Rug it around, but right to Martyr near half boards. The Canadians on it to the back. Here's Parayko. A shot blocked in front, and it's saved by Saros, as that might have hit Mikola's skate and went right into Saros, as he makes the stop with 11:39 to go in the second. His 13th save of the game. Is that shot, that's not the same shot that we're looking at. It came from here's the save we're looking at. It did go off a skate, and Saros was able to glove it. He wasn't quite sure where it was, but he had it. And now the face-off here to his left. It'll be Bennett out here to take this draw for Team Canada. Bennett here in his fourth game of the tournament has just an assist in those 3 previous games. He loses it as it's pulled back by Team Finland, as it's won by Hintz and played down the ice. So Team Canada now must reset, is on the near wing. Here's Marchand busting back into the finish zone. Spins at the near circle. Makes a backhand move again along the near boards. Pressured by Mikkola, his teammate in Florida. Turned it over. Aho has it now. Got it to the red line and sent it into the Canadian zone. In that near corner, Harley will ring it up the far wall, but kept in by Yoki Harju. He sent it down beneath the Canadian goal line again. Good hustle play, but taking a hit was Lehkonen as Parayko flattened him in the near end boards. As now it's out to center, and now Harley carries. Near wall, here's Marchand. Tried to center it in front for Bennett. It pinballed her out in the slot again. Yoki Harju can't find it. It came up to Harley. A long shot save. Saros, who saw it all the way, as that was a long shot from between the circles by Harley, as he was able to see it. No screen in front, and it remains 2-0 Team Finland. So head coach for Team Finland, Antti Pennanen, was part of the Four Nations coaching staff as he was the head coach of that team, as he's liked what he's seen from his Finnish crew here as of late, as they lost that opening game to Slovakia, but that ended up getting back on track versus Team Sweden and Team Italy, and they drubbed Italy 11-0 in that game. And then, of course, they fall behind to Switzerland in that quarterfinal yesterday, but pull it out in overtime, as they have been just relentless in terms of late game attacks, as they are shut down, and Canadians here are being stymied by this Finnish defense. So here's Celebrini. He was in the slot with a shot set up by McKinnon, but that barely got towards Saros. He didn't get as much as he would like on it, as he gets a glove on it. So another faceoff coming up to his right, with 10.5 to go here in period number 2. Stephen Land chimed in the chat, said, great job with the play-by-play. Keep up the great work. Hope your day is going well. Day is going well. Got up early to call some hockey. Hope you're doing well, Stephen. Thank you for stopping by to the stream. Hope you could hit the subscribe button, as I'll be live later for USA and Slovakia if you'd like to come by. Appreciate your presence. As a face-off to the right of the goaltender for Finland, Jussi Saros, is won by the Finns, and it's backhanded down the ice by Teravainen in the Canadian zone on the far wall. McKinnon can't play it. Teravainen will put it back in the far corner, and now behind the Canadian goal, it's swung up the near board. Celebrini will take it. Played back out the center. McKinnon trying to settle it down, puts on the brakes, left a backhander at the red line for Celebrini. Splits the D into the zone, far wall. Bouncing puck, can't be settled down. Now grabs it. Lost it again on a poke check by Hintz, but came to McDavid, far corner. Behind the goal, it's McKinnon. Trade spots with McDavid. Now Celebrini. A shot from the far circle, shouldered away by Saros nicely. Rebound out to center as Theodore poked it back to Makar. Makar back straight away from McDavid. This way it goes Celebrini onside. Feathered it to the far corner. Here's Reinhart now. Reinhart being defended by Armia and Heiskanen. Heiskanen poked it, but it came to McDavid. Fresh on the ice is Jarvis. He fanned on a shot. Pirouetted, kept it. Jarvis a shot. Saves Saros. Rebound in behind. Thrown in front. Picked up by Granlund of the Finns. And Granlund, the captain for Team Finland, flips one the other way. And the Canadians have to reset. Taves does just that. On the near wall, Reinhart can't get it over the Finnish blue line. Now sticks tied up on the near side, and it gets whistled dead for an offsides, as it looks like Jarvis touched it when he was already into the zone. So that'll send us to another timeout here in period 2. The Finns still up 2-0 in the semifinals over Team Canada, looking to punch their ticket to the gold medal game on Sunday. Jaric Rubel back with you here in Italy, Milan, 2026 Winter Olympics. It's the men's ice hockey tournament. The semifinals here between Finland and Canada live on YouTube. The two highest scoring teams of the Olympics, as Canada has 24 goals coming into this tournament. The Finns now up to 21 after their 2 goals today. And both of these teams earned come from behind victories in their quarterfinal matchups against Switzerland and Czechia to advance here to the semis. And I mentioned it would be the first time, if Canada could pull off the comeback, that an Olympics featuring NHL participation would have comeback wins in the playoffs by the same team in back-to-back games. So we'll see what happens, as there's still half a hockey game left. The Finns win a D-zone draw and play it into the Canadian end with 9:15 to go in the second period. It'll be flipped back out to center, and it'll be drubbed into the Finnish zone now. We're on the near wall. Stone can't move it, and Luosterainen will send it right back out to center, and Devon Tace must rekindle. Goes on the near side, Makar. Straight away, it'll be tipped into the Finnish zone by Marner. Grabbed by Suzuki, turned right over onto the blade, though, of Haula. Haula twisted it up the near boards. It's going to be kept by Makar. Good job, as the linesman says it's onside. Behind the goal, a pass centering in front by Suzuki. Didn't make it to Marner. It's cut off and sent down the ice by Team Finland's Armia. And now along the far wall in front of the Finnish bench, the puck sits between a bunch of skates, as now it gets poked free. And it comes to Makar at his own blue line, who played it to the red line for Suzuki, who got hit by Mikkola. And now Aho will just grab the puck and chip it back into the Canadian zone, as the Finns get their top line fully on the ice now. 8:15 to go in the second period. Makar's been out here for like a minute and a half at this point. Goes across the Taze and neutral ice. Pass for McDavid at the finish line. Got cut off by Lehkonen. And now Celebrini resetting at his own blue line to the far wall. It's going to be McKinnon now, as it's McKinnon, McDavid, and Celebrini to generate offense to the near circle. Here's McKinnon, a shot and a save. Saros, as these boys, McKinnon, McDavid, and Celebrini, are just going to go full nuclear and throw any and everything at the net here, I could imagine, as they'll stay out here for this ensuing faceoff coming up to Saros' left. So good job by McKinnon to break through the defensive wall of both Lehkonen and Aho at the blue line, and Lindell was there as well. And just not a great shooting angle for McKinnon, as he just shot it right into Saros, couldn't pick a corner. Face off to Saros' left, going to be played to the near wall by McKinnon, and it's going to come back to him, and he'll ring it around the goal to the far half boards. It comes out to center, though, as a lumberjack whack deflected it back to neutral ice, and Theodore will reset on the near side. In front of the penalty box, as McKinnon gave it back to Celebrini. He glides through the Finnish defense into the slot with a shot, a save. Saros, as he's squared and centered to everything that Canada's throwing at him. Near side, here's McDavid trying to center it. It got cut off, and now here's Granlund on the far wall. Here comes Team Finland into the Canadian zone. Mikael Granlund driving on his ex-teammate Harley. Couldn't get it on net as he boxed him out in behind. On the far wall, McKinnon played it out. Now it'll be collected at center by Theodore. On the near wall into the Finnish zone. Rung it around the goal. It'll be met by Joki Harju, who tapped it ahead to Luosterainen, but he couldn't get it out. And now the Finns will take back over, though, as Rantanen's able to find Mata on the near side and send it deep. Under 7 minutes now to go. Second period. You could see on your screen the Finns still lead it 2-0. Bennett's up the near wall for the Canadians. Played it into the near corner of the Finnish zone. Puck picked up by Nico Mikkola, ex-St. Louis Blue and New York Ranger, now a 2-time Cup champion with the Florida Panthers. Couldn't get it out as Doughty rung it around the goal. Also a 2-time Cup champion with LA is Doughty, as he tried to chip in on the near side and pinch in to keep it in, but couldn't. And now Lundell's up the near side with only Sanheim back. Lundell driving on Sanheim, boxed out to the near corner. High stick coming up on Lundell, as it's a dreaded O-zone penalty, as he got turned around and the stick came up. And he will take a seat. So Team Canada will go to the power play here with 16:25 to go, or 6:25 to go in this second period, as they have an opportunity to get this game to within 1, as Brad Marchand got a stick right between his lips, as he got it right in the mouth. And Lundell will take a seat here for Team Finland, and we'll see if it's 2 or 4. I didn't see any blood. And we'll see what the official call is when it comes up on the clock. But this Canadian power play, again, the nuclear option up top. McDavid, Celebrini, McKinnon with Makar and Reinhart is the power play unit. They did give up a shorthanded goal to Finland in this period, and it's just a 2-minute minor that will be on the clock. And Canada to a much-needed power play here. Macklin Salabrini, the youngest player to play for Team Canada in the Olympics, has 5 goals and 4 assists already in this tournament. Let's see if he could add to another here and get Canada back in it. They win the draw. Straight away, it's Makar. To the near side, McDavid. Down low, Salabrini. Across for McKinnon, but it was too hot to handle. From the far circle, McKinnon had a pass get deflected in the slot to the near corner. Now McDavid pressed by Joel Armia. And the puck now free and comes up the near boards into Makar at the right point. Slides it across. McKinnon, far circle. Up to Makar, straight away with the shot. Blocked by Saros with the blocker. Came to the near wall, McDavid. Up top, here's Makar. To McDavid, near circle. Connor McDavid centered it in the slot. Reinhart got his stick lifted. Makar will keep the puck in. Makar straight away at the blue line. Top of the near circle for McDavid. McDavid looks over his options, goes back to Cale Makar. Long out, a shot, he scores! Power play goal! Canada's back in it on a long shot by Cale Makar from out between the circles. We'll see if it was deflected in front, but it was a long shot by Makar with a ton of traffic in front. And Team Canada has gotten this crowd that's majority Canadian on their feet and back into it. We'll see if Reinhart might have got a piece of this as this shot comes through, and it does go off of Sam Reinhart in the slot as he did a good job to get it with the middle part of his stick. It hit just by his right hand and deflected to the glove side of Saros, and Sam Reinhart gets his first goal of the tournament from Makar and McDavid. So some pep in the Canadian step now as they resume play with the face-off win. A reverse jolt by Suzuki will end up in an offsides, though, as he entered the zone and the whistle goes. So under 6 minutes to play in this second period, the Canadians are now on the board with the power play marker. A deflection by Sam Reinhart in front, and Finland now just leads it 2-1. Back here in Milan, semifinals of the men's ice hockey Olympic tournament. Finland now only up 1 on Team Canada after Sam Reinhart deflected a Cale Makar shot on the power play. As Team Canada is now within a goal. Earlier this period, Erik Haula scored a shorthanded goal for Team Finland, and he became the second Finnish player with a shorthanded goal this tournament, joining Joel Armia, who also scored a shorthanded goal in this tournament. So they connect on a little more shorthanded magic. And 2-1 is your score with under 6 minutes to play in the second period. Again, my name's Jaric Rubel. So glad you've joined me early here on a Friday morning in North America, as a face-off in neutral ice is won by Team Canada, as Suzuki got it to Parayko, who put it into the near corner of the Finnish zone. Parayko along the near boards, put it back in the near corner, getting on its Nico Mikkola for Team Finland, poked it up the boards, but not anywhere else. Got it now again, fish hooked it out to center, and Parayko will have to reset at the red line. Got it to Marner, backhanded it off his own man Suzuki. Onside, says the linesman, though, so we play on. Puck in front of the Canadian bench, though, comes to center, and Lehkonen just iced it on accident as he shot it through everybody and didn't connect. So 4:53 to go with that whistle. A reminder again, tomorrow, the bronze medal game at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 Central. The loser of these two semifinal games will collide. And then on Sunday morning here in North America, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, it'll be the gold medal game between the winners of today's semifinal games against Slovakia and the United States at 3 Eastern, 2 Central. I'll have that coverage for you right here if you'd like to join. Face-off win by the Canadians to the right of Saros. Here is Makar cutting his way to the slot. He tried a shot that deflected off a leg and came to the far wall. Now where big Mikko Rantanen will poke it along. Took a bounce in front of the Canadian bench that looked awkward, as now the puck's in the near side of the Canadian zone. Aho for Rantanen still out there. Played it back to Mata at the point. Across, here's Yoki Harju with a shot that didn't make it to the net. Near wall, Aho played it back up high to Mata, who put it behind the net. Behind that Canadian goal, it's Devon Tays being pressured to the boards by Tara Vinen. Now a 4-body scrum to that far quarter to the left of Binnington, down to our left from this vantage point the cameras give us. In that far corner, it's poked ahead by Devon Tays finally, and now sky high out to center and settled down by Horvat, but he overskated it after, and now he heads to the bench to change. Finland takes back over. Here's Hinson to the zone with Groundland near side. Groundland at the circle with a shot and a blocker save by Binnington. Rebound comes to the far boards. It deflects into the Finnish bench out of play, as Jordan Binnington there had to be squared and centered for that try that came to his right. As we get a look here at the most points in a single Olympics with NHL players. After that point by McDavid, he's now up to 12 in the tournament. That's the most ever by a guy with NHL experience in the Olympics, passing Teemu Selanne, who had 11, who was a part of Team Finland. As Connor McDavid here with just a tremendous tournament. And of course, you know, he's going to try and cap it off with a Stanley Cup as well in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He's out there for this draw against Lundell. The Finns are able to control, and now it's played behind the Canadian goal. Lundell trying to get to it, but Sandheim did a good job to poke it away, and now it comes between the circles, but nobody home there, so it rides to the far wall where Doughty will ring it around his net. Up the near boards, he sent it with some force. It went past McKinnon, and in front of the penalty boxes, Lundell tries to settle it down. It rides to the logo, where it'll be then backhanded in by Luosterainen, and the Canadians will take back over as the Finns get some changes. So Doughty, between his own circles, plays it far wall. McDavid, back to Doughty. Celebrini on the near side now over the finish line. Put the puck in deep in the near corner. Doughty being hassled by Heiskanen. Couldn't come up with that battle. The Finns clear back out the center. Chasing back's Colton Parayko with now 3 minutes remaining in period number 2. Jaric Rubel here with you live on YouTube as Parayko snapped one in from the red line. Around it goes behind the Canadian net. We're up the near side. Lindell played it, but it came to Wilson. Wilson in front, it deflects, and it came right in front of Saros, luckily for him, as Bennett's deflection went to the wrong side. Out to center it goes. Aho in front of the penalty boxes. Near side, can't get past Parayko. Puck came to Bennett in the Canadian zone. He lost it, as now up the near boards, it does find Marchand. He goes rink wide far side. Into the zone comes Harley. Harley cutting wide on Ristolainen with a shot off the right pad of Saros. Rebound in behind for Rasmus Ristolainen, the Philadelphia Flyer defenseman. Playing up the far boards now at center. It's grabbed and played to the near wall. Kiviranta on the feed from Armia. Goes in behind, but an icing's called here as that tip pass was shy of center. And it was just not played in time by the Finns, so the whistle goes with 2:18 in the second period. So we'll get a look here at this try by Wilson. He threw it for Bennett, just looking for anything off a leg on top of the blue paint. And it hit that left leg of Bennett, but it caromed back in front of the goaltender, Saros, as it could have ended up behind him, but that bounce did go in front. Just a little bang-bang play there that could have went either way and went in favor of the Finns. Howlo wins a draw against McKinnon, now to Saros' left. Ristolainen from behind his own net, played it up the far wall, and tipped into the Canadian zone it goes. Near side, it's Howla. Got hit now, and it comes behind for McKinnon. Goes up the far boards. McDavid with speed. Gets past Yoki Harju. McDavid, a spinner rabbit pass, looking for Makar. I would have just exploded if that would have connected. Is on the near wall now out to center for Team Finland is Kiviranta. So he plays it behind for Binnington to play it for Canada. Came free in the slot, but unable to grab it as Hintz. As now Makar trying to nudge it along, got it to the logo, and now McKinnon's able to get it away from Hintz. McKinnon, near wall, Celebrini in onside. Snapped it behind the goal. Saros can't play it. Came to McDavid. Played it, and Saros a stop as he had to to get on top of the paint as McDavid just quickly threw it on net. Puck free in the near corner. Theodore, the defenseman, down low, played it to the far corner. Down low to play it Stone on the far side for Canada. Can't come up with it as Mata does instead for Team Finland. Played it behind his own net in the final 80 of period 2. Yoki Haru up the near wing. Couldn't hit Groundland with the pass. Stone nudged it on the near side for Suzuki to trip over the linesman and dive and play a puck in behind the goal line. Here's Martyr in the trapezoid on his backhand. Left it down low. No Canadian there. Mata will grab it. Backhanded it to the far boards for Hintz in the final minute of period 2. Hintz backhanded one all the way down. This will roll far enough for icing. As with 57 seconds to go, the icing whistle goes, and after a decently long shift in the defensive zone, the Finns will have to stay on the ice with their top line. And we'll see how this Canadian group comes out here for this face-off with under a minute to go in the second period, down a goal. So we'll see if they stick to the big guns, as it looks like that will be the case. Celebrini, McDavid, and McKinnon out there, along with Bakar and Taze, but Hintz is able to win the draw against McDavid, and on the near side, it's whacked out to center, and now Taze will have to reset. Taze now will play it up straight away, far wing into the zone. Celebrini will send it deep. Final 43 of period 2. Mata try to move it out from behind the goal. He will. Will this go far enough for icing? It will, as the linesman blows the play dead as Taze gets back with 36 seconds remaining now in period 2. Again, if you're liking what you see on the stream and you're new here, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I'll be live here in a few hours again for Slovakia and the United States. Slovakia drubbing Germany 6-2 on Wednesday in the early quarterfinal game. The United States needing overtime against Sweden. Quinn Hughes, the hero for the Americans in that game. As face-off to the left of Saros now will be ruled to be dropped unfairly, as Lundell and Suzuki will have to try this all over again. Nick Suzuki here, the only ever Montreal Canadiens captain to play in the Olympics for Team Canada, as he gets those honors, and he's able to fight for a face-off that comes to the near boards, but unfortunately Stone couldn't win the battle for him, and the Finns come out with it. Through center, here's Anton Lundell, it pokes right on net. Binnington's going to have to cover it as Lundell was scorching on in, and now he puts a paw on it with 22.8 to go in the second period, and the Finns have an offensive zone draw here coming on up in the late stages of period number 2. So the Finns here returning 18 of their 23 players from the four nations. They also have 5 players with Olympic experience, as Mikael Granlund, Olli Mata, and Mikko Lehtinen were part of the 2014 team, and then Miro Heiskanen and Eli Tolvanen played in 2018. So some previous experience here for a handful of Finns in the NHL. The only previous one in this game for the Canadians is Drew Doughty, who was in 2014. Sidney Crosby was with them, but obviously not playing today. Face off to the right of Binnington. Suzuki's able to beat Aho, and now it's flipped out to center by the Canadians. Marchand trying to gather. He will over the finish line. He takes a tumble. Puck now came to the point. Hardly a flip shot that comes to the near corner. Final 10 of the second period. Bennett poked it to the near corner. It rides to the trapezoid where Wilson gives a jolt to Lindell. Puck free to Rantanen as time will expire here in period 2. And the Finns will hold a 1-goal lead entering period number 3, as it's a 2-1 contest here with a trip to the gold medal game on the line. In this period, Eric Haula scored a shorthanded goal that was set up on a clear by Yoel Armia, and up the near wing came Haula and went backhand over the glove of Binnington as he cut from the near circle into the slot to make the move. And then on the power play for Team Canada, it was Sam Reinhart's first of the tournament, a tip from a Cale Makar shot. McDavid, his secondary assist, got his 12th point of the tournament. And this game is a 2-1 Finland lead through 40 minutes. Shots on goal, Canada leads at 22-11, but Finland with the 2 goals where it matters, leading it here in the going into the third period. So don't go anywhere, as this is going to be a fun finish. You know Canada's going to throw everything at the net. The Finns are going to play their defensive style of hockey that makes everything troublesome for their opponent. And UC Saros is going to have to hunker down in that blue paint. He's made 21 saves thus far in this game, and we'll see what this third period has in store for us. As you know, in that Canadian locker room, Crosby, and not just Sid, but the boys are going to be talking about how Sid's going to get back on the ice for another game, and there it's not going to be a bronze medal game. I know that these Canadians are going to amp themselves up, and we're going to see if Finland can weather this storm, because as non-biased as I want to be, that's really the reality of what this is going to be. It's going to be a Canadian storm, and Finland's going to have to try and withstand it. And that's what this third period will have in store on the other side. So a Finland goal by Haula, a Canadian goal by Reinhardt sends us to intermission. Finland up 2-1. You're listening to the 2026 Winter Olympics men's ice hockey semifinal. My name's Jaric Rubel, and you'll hear me again in 18 minutes for the start of period 3. welcome back into the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympics Men's Ice Hockey Tournament. Finland leads Canada 2-1 in the semifinals. My name's Jaric Rubel. Glad you're with me here live on YouTube. As in that second period, Erik Haula had a shorthanded goal to put Finland up 2-0, assisted by Joel Armia, his second shorthanded point of the tournament, Joel Armia. Then on the power play for Canada, Sam Reinhart deflected a Cale Makar shot from Connor McDavid, and that was Connor McDavid's 10th assist and 12th point of the tournament. Sam Reinhart with one goal, his first goal of the tournament, as he got the first goal for Canada here in the semifinals. And this team, Canada, could become the fourth different team to register a multi-goal comeback win in an Olympic game featuring NHL players, and the first to do so in order to advance to the gold medal game. And with that McDavid assist, his 10th of the tournament, already entered today with the most in a single Olympics involving NHL players, is just adding on to that. And Cale Makar collected his 4th assist of the tournament, becoming the 5th different Canadian defenseman to mark that in a single tournament with NHL players. So the third period is underway. Bennett wins the draw for Canada almost too cleanly as it goes all the way back into the Canadian zone, and it's flipped into Finnish ice where Ristolainen will take back over. And now in neutral ice, it'll be played into the Canadian end where Binnington will play it to the near wall. Up the near side it goes, getting it there for Canada's Thomas Harley, but it's cut off by Kakko. Trying to get there's Luosterainen in the near corner, but Parayko comes up with it and backhands it to Marchand, who hits Harley at center. Canada over the finish line, attacking right to left in this third period. The Finns going left to right. At the far wall, down to our left, Marchand tried a centering attempt that deflected into the slot, and it's sent out to center by Luosterainen, and Harley will have to chase back now on the near side of his own defensive zone. 50 seconds gone by in this third period, as Harley plays it over the logo. It's tipped in by Martyr into the near corner. Here's Suzuki getting upended by Heiskanen. Puck free up the wall. It's grabbed by Taves. His shot blocked down by Lindell in the slot. Far wall, Gronlund. Cross ice now. It's near side Hintz over the Canadian line. Dropped it for Teravainen. His shot got blocked to the near corner. Teravainen now trying to get it in behind. Hintz as well is tied up with Cale Makar as 3 Canadian sweaters lose it to 2 Finns as Gronlund played it up to the right point. Heiskanen plays it right back where it was in the near corner down to our right. Teravainen along the half boards trying to locate it. Stone played it away from him for Canada. Behind the Canadian net now, Makar played it on the far wall for Suzuki to twist up the wall, and out the center it goes. So the Finns reset here with 100 seconds played in the third period. Heiskanen will go to change as he left it for Joki Harju in his own end. Back to the far wall. Return pass to Joki Harju. Straight away he sends it as it's tipped into the Canadian zone. Near corner after it is Sebastian Aho. Aho couldn't grab it. It came back up the near wall and a 2-on-2 the other way. Celebrini crisscrosses with McDavid. Tried to leave it for McKinnon in the slot. It deflected to the far wall. Celebrini will backhand it beneath the Finnish goal line again. Ristolainen with it up the near boards. Got it out to center. Fighting forward against Makar's Aho. Got it to Rantanen to the far circle. Lekkinen a shot and he missed to the glove side as it caroms up the near boards, but not out as Ristolainen plays it back around. There to meet it on the far boards for Canada is Connor McDavid as he collides with Lekkinen trying to circle around as the puck's now at the logo. McKinnon over the finish line to the near side, lost it as he got to the circle to Ristolainen. Ristolainen moved it up the near boards. Now Armia is tied up with Celebrini, and the Finns are able to move the puck out through center. Back into the Canadian zone, it rides on the near boards where Doughty will collect and circle his own net. Took a hit and lost it thanks to Kiviranta's jolt, but it came back to him and played it between the circles for his partner Harley. Nudged it up the near wing. Celebrini over the red line, will hoist one to the far corner. Mikkola on it first for Team Finland. The big defenseman lugs it on the far wall. Armia will tap it into Canadian ice and head to change. Harley circles back with 3 minutes played in the third period. At the logo, a turnover's forced by Gronlund on the near side. Has Lundell with him. Fed it across and Taves broke that pass up. Is now in the far boards of the Canadian zone. Luosterainen centered. A shot by Kakko went over the glove and into the near corner of the Canadian zone. Up the boards, Heiskanen plays it right back to the corner. Kakko trying to grab it away from Thomas Harley. Kakko trying to get it up to the point, but it went off the leg now of Brandon Hagel of Team Canada. And back behind the trapezoid, it'll go far wall. Jarvis had a blowout, but stayed with it enough to play it out to center, as in front of the Finnish bench. It's twisted back to the near side. Jarvis collects over the finish line on the boards, dropped it into the slot. Makar got poke checked by Aho. Puck in the near corner, comes back up to Aho now, who goes from low to high. He backhands it down low, behind the Finnish goal. Hagel trying to get on it for Canada. It's loose in front, came back behind the net. Lindell on it, one hand on his stick for the Finns, just pressing off Travis Sanheim nicely as a single effort gets himself to the red line and dumps it in and heads to change. So Mark Stone, the Golden Knights captain, playing it here at his own blue line with 4:10 played in the third period. Got the red, chipped it off the near glass into the Finnish zone. Behind the net is Yoki Haryu's backhander. Cut off in the corner. Marner played it back to the point. Theodore, a long shot, goes off the end boards. Suzuki on that loose puck. Knocked it up the near wing. Here's Stone. Stone tried to fish hook it to the point, lost it, but came to Marner. Marner protecting along those near half boards, going from low to high. Marner left it for Stone at the left point. Protecting here as Mata defends him. Touched it across. Theodore faked a shot at the far circle. Tried one, blocked in the slot by Aho. Clean to the near wing. Now it's played up the boards, but not out again by Mata. Came back to him. He'll backhand one out shuffleboard style, and the Finns will scramble to change, but the Canadians are doing the same. So Dowdy away, gave it to McKinnon at the logo. Left it for McDavid, squeezing it on the near side with speed. McDavid to the circle with a shot, blocked by the skater Ristolainen. Far board Celebrini, dropped to McDavid, back to Celebrini in the slot with a shot and a save made by Saros as he gobbles that up with 5:03 played in period 3. Saros with a little bit of a grimace or two after making that save. As you're watching along, kind of doing one of these, as it seemed like that might have stung him a little bit, as it hit him right in the midsection on that shot by Celebrini, who's now approaching 20 shots on net in this tournament. And he's got 5 goals and 4 assists, as this top line's going to stay out there for Canada. McKenna gets hints to the left of Saros, one to the back. Makara shot, blocked in the slot. Came to Teravainen on the near wing, who punches it out. It'll roll down into the Canadian zone, no icing. So Devon Tays, far wall for Makar, sent it rink wide this way for Celebrini, who wrists it in. Saros couldn't play it, it's lost. McKinnon centered it, deflect off a skate through the slot into the near corner. Pass was intended for Devon Tays, as now the Finns will clear it back out down the ice and into the Canadian end. No icing here, 14:27 to go in period number 3. Up through center come the Canadians. Far wall Wilson played it in the slot. Marchand couldn't get a shot free as Heiskanen lost his stick in the poke check process. Meanwhile, puck flipped back out to center. Near wall Lundell has a step on Harley. He's in. Lundell, a shot and a save by Binnington as he got a step in on Harley. Now end to end, here's Wilson. Wilson through center. Near wing over the line, it's Marchand. Marchand sent it across and it went off a skate far wall. Now the Finns. Lundell left it for Luosterainen. Lundell heads to change. Far wall into the Canadian zone. Luosterainen will ring it around. Nobody there for the Finns, though, as Sanheim has a free puck. Played it to Marchand, who fell over again. Second time in this period. Gave the puck freely to Yoki Haru on the near wing. Yoki Haru played it behind the Canadian net in that far corner. Wilson upends Gronlund. Meanwhile, far wall, here comes Hagel on the escape. Over the red and the blue. Far wall into the Finnish zone. A backhander and a save made by Saros as he cut the angle off nicely and is able to hold on. So face-off coming up to his left. Brandon Hagel with that try, 1 goal in this tournament. Haven't seen too much of him in this game, as we will head to break here with the Finns hanging on to a 2-1 lead over Team Canada in this semifinal game. Back in a moment, live here on YouTube. Welcome back into the 2026 Winter Olympics here live from Milan. quote unquote. My name's Jaric Rubel, live with you here on YouTube as Anton Lundell for the Finns a moment ago had a brilliant scoring opportunity, getting a step on Harley for a breakaway try on Binnington, but Binnington able to stay squared to the shooter as that shot hit him right in the chest and kept this game 2-1 in favor of the Finns. So McKinnon, McDavid, and Celebrini back on the ice. They're seemingly going to be on the ice for this entire period, as again, no Sidney Crosby as well for the Canadians as they're pushing to try and tie this game and try and punch their ticket to the gold medal game Sunday. Face off to the left of Saros, won by McKinnon. Makar played it from the far point. Down low it goes behind the Finnish goal. Ristolainen on it, trying to elude McKinnon and McDavid. That's hard to do, but he's able to punch it up the near wall, but it went right to Taves. Across it goes Makar. Makar being defended by Lehkonen. Threw it to the net. Deflected. Save Saros on the tip by Celebrini. Now a 3-on-2 developing for the Finns. Backhanded across by Lehkonen, but the pass was read by the Canadians as it's taken back over by Celebrini. Far wall, McDavid can't enter the zone. Back out the center. McKinnon having trouble with it. Lost it. And Lehkonen will go to Aho now, who tries to lull the Canadians to sleep as he waits for reinforcements as everyone else is changing. Played it around the goal to the near corner in the Canadian zone down to our right. Celebrini chipped it up the boards, but it's held in at the right point by Heiskanen. Played it back to the corner. Devon Taves will ring it around the goal for Sanheim. Got it up to Hagel. Hagel between the benches at the red line. Chipped it in and he'll go after it. To the far corner in the Finnish zone. Heiskanen's on it first, but it comes to Bo Horvat. Horvat back down low for Hagel. Hagel protecting out of the far corner against Heiskanen. Got it up top to Theodore. His long shot bounced to the near corner. Sanheim pinching's on it. Takes a hit there from Gronlund. Nudged up the wall by Lundell on the near side. Teravainen can't do anything with it. Sanheim back behind the goal. Pass intended for Horvat. Stray stick on the ice right now as it belongs to a Canadian who's going to get a new one in the near corner. Heiskanen. Backhands went up but not out. Kept by Sanheim. Fed it back behind the goal for Horvat. Horvat protecting out of the far corner. Got a return pass from Wilson. Up top it's Theodore now. Shea Theodore a long flip shot into the glove of Saros, who saw it all the way and takes a whistle with 11:57 to go in regulation time. We're getting down to it here in Milan as the Canadians here, with all the offensive zone time, just trying to pepper Saros, but unable to crack him for the second time as they still trail a goal. So Celebrini with a plethora of efforts, and the one that I said made Saros grimace looks to have hit him up near the throat area. He's got the throat protector on, but it seems like it still kind of stung him a bit. But he's all good as he's still kind of grimacing, not gonna lie. He looks like he's in some distress there in the Finnish blue paint, so hopefully he's gonna be able to do his best to withstand this inevitable Canadian push. Set face-off play here to his right, Suzuki for the draw, Marner on top of the circle. Off the draw, Lundell wins it. It came to Kakko. Kakko spinning, loses it. Marner can't grab it either as he fell over, but Suzuki directed it behind the Finnish net. Saros left it for Ristolainen, and it's played up the far wall, and down the ice it'll go, no icing. So Harley will collect from behind his own net as he looks to start a Canadian breakout. 11:40 remaining in a regulation time. Jaric Rubel here with you live on YouTube. Up the far wall, here's Suzuki with space into the Finnish zone. Near wall, one-timer save, rebound! Suzuki couldn't get there on the one-timer by Marner. On the near boards, Kakko directs it out to center against Marner and gets a battle against him. Stays with it, Kakko to the far circle with a shot and a save. Binnington went rebound to the near corner. Now up the boards it goes, and does it get out? Not sure, don't know where the linesman's at, but it might be a delayed offsides, but the Canadians get it out to center. Out to center is Marner on the far wall into the Finnish zone. He'll ring it around the goal. Near half boards, it's Nick Suzuki being defended by Lehkonen. Lost the puck. Lehkonen and Suzuki, once teammates in Montreal in 2021. Across, Taves a drive on a free puck and a save. Saros, a huge one. Free at the far point, Stone. Up high, Harley a shot and it's blocked to the near corner. Here's Ristolainen on the loose puck, sending it down the ice. It's tipped, says the linesman, I believe. No, so it will be an icing with 10:44 to go in period number 3. The Canadians with 6 shots in this period, the Finns with 2, as the latest one from Devon Taves was an absolute rocket from the far circle that Saros had to scramble over to his left and make the stop. That play there was very similar to what Jake Wallman did, from what I could remember, in the Stanley Cup final, Game 4, his go-ahead goal for the Oilers in Game 4 of that series. Ended up being very similar to that Taves try, but Saros with the stop Here's the Canadians off a face-off win. McDavid from the far point to the net. Hit bodies in the slot. Caromed up to the far point, and Lehkonen will chip it out. Finns are trying to change on the fly. Here's Makar on the near side. Into the Finnish zone. Fluttered one to the far corner. Celebrini on that puck. Played it this way to McKinnon. Nathan McKinnon goes back across. It goes off Rantanen's leg, but to Celebrini. In the slot. Celebrini is shot, and he just missed to the blocker side. Came free to the near wing where Lehkonen will feather it out. It came on a touch pass to Heiskanen. Through all three lines at center. Heiskanen from the far circle with a shot. Shut down by Binnington on the far post. Rebound in behind. Going to be grabbed by Cale Makar now for Team Canada. He'll drop it back in behind. Binnington will stick it to Taze, who now goes to McDavid in the trapezoid. Here comes McDavid with under 10 minutes now to go in the third period. Canada pressing for a tying goal. Marchand trying to cut to the net with a backhand. That's cut off. Saros has it, and he'll take a whistle with 9:47 to go in the third period. The look of desperation starting to form on the face of the Canadians. Not just the players, but their fans too. 2-1, Finland leads it with half of regulation remaining. We're down to the final 10 minutes here in a regulation time of this semifinal between Finland and Canada. The Finns led this game 2-0 at the halfway point. Then Sam Reinhart with 6.5 to go in the second got the Canadians to within 1 with a power play tip-in. And it still remains that same score with the Canadians pressing for the tying goal. Looking to punch their ticket to the gold medal game. Looking to complete another comeback from down in the third period and back-to-back games. They haven't had a multi-goal comeback win since the 1987 Canada Cup when they were down 3-0 in the first period. So we'll see how the closing stages of this game winds up. As a face-off here to the left of UC Saros will be between Bennett and Haula. Wilson ready at the top of the circle for a face-off win and maybe shooting it on net. It came to him, but he chipped it back. Here's Theodore. Sent it this way. Sanheim, a shot, save Saros. Rebound cleaned up to the near corner. Behind the goal, Armia. Lost it. It's played back to Wilson at the far point. Wilson just slaps one towards the net. Went off a skate. Came back to Theodore. Now far wall, it's Wilson. Wilson to the net, deflected. Came to Sanheim in the slot. Across one-timer, Theodore scores! Shea Theodore's tied the game at 2 with 9:26 to go. It's his first goal of the tournament, his second point, and he laid into this one as it goes over the glove of Saros into the top right corner, and Canada has gotten the equalizer as this shot comes from way out at the top of the far circle. It was a crazy carom that Sanheim got, and wide open at the near side, well, from the far side, from my vantage point, was Theodore, and that shot goes over the glove of Saros and into the back of the net. Saros was asking for goaltender interference immediately, but I don't know if he's gonna have a case, as this game has been tied at 2. So the Canadian fans here in Milan, all on their feet, as this is a sea of red in this crowd, as the energy has been lifted, and they are going nuts. Theodore from Makar and Sanheim, 3 defensemen factor into the tying goal, and we're even here with 9:10 to go in the third period, with Parayko controlling in front of his own bench, with Pep in his steps, sends it on into the Finnish zone to the near corner. Here's Theodore sending it across, and McDavid had it too hot to handle. Here's behind the goal, Ristolainen for Finland. The Finns here look a little shell-shocked as they're kind of stuck in mud, their legs not moving. As they do clear one into the Canadian zone, they get fresh bodies onto the ice as Devon Toews resets. He gives it now to Suzuki. Across it goes, and it's dumped on in. Behind the net to the near corner. Play's going to be blown dead for an icing, as it appears to have been shot in just shy of the red line. See, Jake's chiming into the chat now, calling Marchand a pest. What do you want him to be? That's Brad Marchand, baby, as that's the type of hockey he plays. As a face-off here, going to be coming up in neutral ice. Or I should say not neutral ice following the icing, but down in the Canadian defensive zone following the icing. As we get another look at the tying goal and the frantic celebration, as you could see the elation and joy this Canadian team had, as they had a look of desperation on their face prior to the commercial, and they've come through with the tying goal. The Finns control, though, at the right point. Yoki Harju across. Mata, a shot blocked in front off of Harley. Goes across to Marner now. Marner got it to Stone, who ladled it out to center. In front of the penalty box as Yoki Harju absorbs a hit from Suzuki. Now it comes into the Canadian zone for Stone to reset to Makar. Cale Makar, the 2022 Stanley Cup champion with Colorado, 2-time Norris winner, sends it on into the Finnish zone. It deflects out of play. So a stoppage with 8:08 now to go in the third period after that puck goes out of play. And this shot by Theodore that tied the game, the Saros argument that he had was on top of the blue paint, Marchand was just all on top of him and toppled over him, as I was more focused on where that puck was. And that was the goaltender interference argument, but they didn't see anything worth a challenge, so the goal stood. So face-off at center here, Horvat and Lundell going to end up controlling are the Canadians. Makar played it ahead for Hagel to tip on into the Finnish zone. Heiskanen behind his net for Lundell in the far corner. Up it goes, and now it's sent by Luosterainen this way for Kakko. Right back to Luosterainen, delayed off sides, but it's on, as getting back on time were the Finns. Behind the Canadian net in the near corner, Sanheim. He put it up the near boards. This puck's rolling on edge. Gonna go for an icing here, as Lundell didn't keep moving his legs. Almost lost the foot race for the icing, but a bit of an early whistle here from the official blows it dead. And with 7:43 to go here in the third period, an ozone draw coming up for the Finns, who have only 3 shots in this period. The Canadians with 9, as we're all even at 2 in this semifinal game, playing for a trip to the gold medal game. Off the draw, face-off win by the Finns. Lindell, one-timer, got blocked by Jarvis in the slot, and he'll carry on out through neutral ice on the near wall. Gave it to Horvat. He'll feather one in that goes offside, says the linesman, and the face-off will come right back out to neutral ice. So again, a reminder, if you're just now joining the broadcast, I got 2 for you today. I'll be back with you at 3 Eastern, 2 Central for the Slovakia-United States semifinal game, as they will look to go for gold themselves and take on the winner of whoever comes out of this 2-2 tie on top. So face-off here between McDavid and Hintz in neutral. In front of the penalty boxes, it's won by McDavid. Sent across and hammered in by Doughty. Behind the Finnish net, hits Ristolainen. In front of the turnover, and Celebrini couldn't get good stick on it. As now Teravainen will just feather it down the ice. He'll happily take it icing here. As the Finns, like I said, they've looked a little shell-shocked. And it just feels like they're trying to survive, as they're happily just trying to get the puck out of their defensive zone. Doesn't look like they're trying to muster anything offensively, as they're just trying to get through this Canadian push and perhaps get to the locker room and play what will be 3-on-3 overtime, which could give them an advantage in this situation, but maybe not, as the Canadians will obviously just have more star power. As a face-off to Saros' left, going to be controlled by the Finns. A big face-off win as Lindell pushes it on the near side for Teravainen. He snaps it in. Around the Canadian goal, it's in the far quarter. Makar pressured by Gronlund, but stays with it. Got it up to Celebrini, turned it over in the slot. Aho, a shot and a blocker save by Binnington as he had to be aware. Puck kept in by Lindell at the far point. Feathered around the goal to the near half boards it goes. Going to be poked by Rantanen, but taken by his ex-teammate in Tays. Out the center comes McKinnon. McKinnon couldn't get over the finish line cleanly, but McDavid grabs it on the near boards. Took a hit from Ristolainen. McDavid to the near quarter. McDavid in the slot. Celebrini is shot and he missed the net. Came back to the near side. Harley can't keep it in as it comes back out the center with 6:30 to go in a regulation. On the re-entry for Canada, McDavid wanted to hit Celebrini, but he tried to stay onside and the pass was in front of him. Ristolainen grabs it out of the far corner. Got Mikko Rantanen who opened the scoring. Now the puck underneath both him and Tom Wilson who are laying on the ice, as now the play will be blown dead as the whistles play it down with 6:14 to go in period number 3. So that tying goal scored by Shea Theodore, member of the Vegas Golden Knights. As I mentioned in this tournament, he only had 1 assist prior as he was able to get the equalizer as he's come up big for Canada in this game so far. And Shea Theodore's being trusted a lot without Josh Morrissey, who's been out on defense for Team Canada, as he's been playing heavier minutes than Sanheim has. So I consider Sanheim more the 7th defenseman in this game. As a face-off to the left now of Saros is won by the Finns as they'll get out of their defensive zone and skate down to our right. Kakko will snap it in. Around the goal it goes to the far corner. Shea Theodore out there will play it. Got it to Wilson who touched it on the far wall for Bennett. He's out 3-on-3. Far wall into the zone he goes. In finish ice. Dropped it to Marchand. Couldn't get past Lundell who's his line mate in Florida. And now Heiskanen will reset. Goes across to Mata. Under 5:45 now to go in a regulation time. Luosterainen across. Puck free in the Canadian zone. Now Theodore gave it this way for Sanheim who lifts one. It goes into the Finnish zone far wall. Now it deflects off a skate and goes into the Finnish bench. And that'll create one last timeout with 5:53 or 5:35 to go here in the third period. We are close to overtime, but a dramatic finish in regulation is sure not out of the question. Welcome back into the 2026 Winter Olympics Men's Ice Hockey Semifinal. Jaric Rubel here with you. Canadians and Finns tied at 2 late in period 3 with the trip to the gold medal game on the line. Marner was the overtime hero for Canada yesterday, or 2 days ago, I should say, on Wednesday. And then for the Finns, it was Arturi Lehkonen netting the game winner. We still got 5.5 to play here, separating these two teams from perhaps an overtime game as we play on with a face-off win by the Canadians to the left of Saros. McDavid to the point, one-timer, Makar, and a save made by Saros as he had to be squared in center with a bunch of traffic in front as he's able to gobble that up for a whistle at 5:28 to go in regulation time. Again, I will have the United States versus Slovakia game. As you can see on the bottom of the screen right here, it'll be at 3 Eastern, 2 Central in North America, as I'll be bringing you both games here today. So in the Canadian zone now, after they win a draw, they reset in neutral ice. Here's McKinnon. Saucing one into the near corner. McDavid gets after it first against Ristolainen. McDavid bumped off the play there nicely by Ristolainen, who uses his big frame to his advantage. Got it up for Mikael Granlund, who will backhand one in. Behind the goal, Binnington will sauce it this way, but it comes right to Teravainen. Teravainen put it back in the near corner. McKinnon will play it around to Makar. From the far corner, played it up to McDavid, and now across it goes to Celebrini, pivoting here into the Finland zone. Played it down low in the far corner for McKinnon in front, trying to center for Celebrini. You got McDavid, McKinnon, and Macklin on the ice right now. Lord help me, as McDavid goes this way in neutral ice for Harley. Over the finish line, dropped it for Celebrini. Back down low behind the goal. Harley can't grab it. Stone fresh on the ice, will at the far half boards. Played it back up to the point for Parayko. Back to the far circle. Stone cutting to the slot. Stone fresh on the ice, found it to Marner. Marner cutting in, far circle, a shot to right pants. They've rebound in the slot, covered up by Suzuki, who fell. It comes free now to the Finns, Lundell, who will flip it up the far wing and down the ice. Oh, Mitch Marner gave everybody a scare here if you're not rooting for Canada, as that was a dangerous opportunity. And Saros, with a brilliant save, fights it off. Puck still to his left, but Lekkonen's on it for Team Finland. He's out to the red line, and he snaps it in. It deflects off Sandheim's skate, and it looks like they're going to blow it dead for an offsides with 4 minutes even remaining in the third period. So that try by Mitch Marner came right down Broadway, cut to the near circle, and tried to go low blocker on Saros, shooting to the far post. He scored the overtime winner in the quarterfinal on Wednesday, has a goal and 4 assists in this tournament. And he also had the overtime winner in the Four Nations in the opening game against Sweden last year, as he's come up with some big goals recently in international play. Now a part of the Vegas Golden Knights, sitting on 799 career points after most of his career was played in Toronto, until going to Vegas this past summer. As we play on here with under 4 minutes now to go in the third period. But guess what? Another offsides, and this comes just 13 seconds after play resumes. So a neutral zone, well, actually the linesman appears to be pointing to the right of Binnington. So let's see if this faceoff ends up coming into the defensive zone, as John Cooper now gives the poke to McDavid, Celebrini, and McKinnon to hop over the boards, as this is going to be an important defensive zone draw, and Makar and Taves will also join. So John Cooper being the top seed. I actually don't know if this is a rule, but technically they're supposed to be the home team, and home teams get the advantage of the last change. But I guess I don't have the specificities of how that works in Olympic hockey, but we'll roll with that explanation. As a face-off here to the right of Binnington will be won back by Lundell. Here's Ristolainen. Ristolainen played it along the near boards. Here's Lundell to the net, swallowed up by Binnington, as he was squared to his left to swallow that shot up. So 3:39 to go here in the third period. Binnington there with his 14th save of the game. Saros with 31 for the Finns, as this faceoff will be coming up here again to the left of Jordan Binnington, who won a Stanley Cup in 2019 as a member of the St. Louis Blues as a rookie. Won the Four Nations gold last year, trophy rather, with that overtime win against the United States. He's 4-1 in winner-take-all games in his career, as the only loss came in Game 7 to Winnipeg last spring. Face-off won here in the D-zone by Canada. It's flipped up ahead to the finish line, but guess what? Another offsides here, as nobody could stay on sides right now, as we have another stoppage with 3:32 to go in this third period. Again, if you're new to the stream, you can see the count jumping up and down. If you're new, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification so you know when I go live, as I'll be live again in 2 hours' time for Slovakia versus the United States, another semifinal matchup. As a face-off here in front of the Finn bench will be between Lundell and Bennett. Off the tie-up, it's drugged back by Armia. Goes on goal for Saros to stick this way for Heiskanen. Miro Heiskanen, the third overall pick in 2017, snaps it into the Canadian zone. It's sticked from Binnington to Harley. From the near corner, he played it to the far. Doughty got it up, and now Bennett on a touch pass at the logo has it. Marchand stays onside. Bennett glides in on the near wing. Out of the corner, put it towards the net, and Saros gloved it. Good job to stay alert. As from the near corner behind the goal line, Bennett just fluttered it on net, and he was able to cut that off. And now Tom Wilson and Marchand sharing some words with the Finns, is Marchand's saying a nice P word to Esa Lindell that I will not repeat on the air, but if you know your chirp words and your cuss words, you could probably figure out which P word Brad Marchand was using. As now those pests will head off to the bench with 3:08 to go. Marchand also heads off as he just keeps chirping the Finnish bench as he heads over to the Canadian bench and now takes a seat. As Brad Marchand, as much of a pest as he is, also a good guy, as during the regular season earlier this year, he went back home to Nova Scotia to help coach some Pee-wee hockey as he lost a friend of his who was a coach of the team, and they asked him to come in and help out while they kind of dealt with all the loss, and he gladly stepped in and stepped away from the Panthers. And as much of a pest, like I said, Marchand certainly is a good guy with a heart, and we'll see if he could come through with a win here for Canada. He's never lost in an international tournament, Brad Marchand has. He is 5-0 in all 5 he's played in. Canada with the puck at the point with 2:50 to go in the third in the Finn zone. Makar off the skate of McKinnon at the far circle. In that far corner, it's Celebrini now working his way out towards the slot. Lost it. McKinnon, backhander to save Saros. He bobbled it. He punched it out to the near corner. Oh, man, McKinnon caught a high stick. The penalty will be called as the official initially didn't see it as he was looking at the play where the puck was, but Eric Furlat did make the call. It looked like he hesitated for a second. But Canada now, with 2:35 to go, has an opportunity to take the lead after Nico Mikkola has taken a high stick against Nathan MacKinnon. So this game has definitely been turned on its head in this third period as Finland has barely had any time to possess the puck. They've probably had about maybe 3 minutes of time on attack in this period, as Canada will not be denied any longer by UC Saros. And MacKinnon, off the one glance that I get, I think that high stick caught him in the face shield, so he did a good job to kind of sell it, though it still is a high stick. He didn't sell something that's not a penalty. It hit him in the face shield, but it didn't really hit him in any body part, but good job by MacKinnon to sell one. And the Canadians to the power play. MacKinnon won it back. It came to him at the far circle. This way it comes. Reinhardt open with a shot. Save Saros. Rebound in behind in that near corner. Heiskanen trying to box out Celebrini and Reinhardt. Now free in that near corner. Right, Heiskanen played it around. It came up to Makar. Left point. Now this way, MacKinnon. MacKinnon to the slot with the shot. Save right pad by Saros. Came back to MacKinnon. Looking over the traffic from the near half boards. 25 played on the power play. Goes across. McDavid in the slot. Makara drive, and that missed the net to the glove side. Rebound behind to the near quarter. MacKinnon a hit on Heiskanen that jarred it loose. In the trapezoid. Heiskanen lost it to MacKinnon. MacKinnon up the near half boards. Goes up high to the left point for Makar. To McDavid, far circle it goes. Looks for an option. McDavid waiting, takes it himself to the slot. This way, MacKinnon one-timer, and he got the glass. And it carries all the way back down the ice with a minute to go on this power play. A minute 36 left in the regulation. Makar at his own blue line on the push and back for MacKinnon. He'll leave it again at the circle at center for McDavid. McDavid onside for Celebrini. He gives it to him near wall. Chipped it back to the point. Makar has it. Makar to the far wall. Here's Reinhardt. Reinhardt in the final 75 of the period, final 40 of the power play. Far wall, McDavid in the circle, cutting to the slot. McDavid, side of that, Celebrini shut down. Another try, it's cut off in the slot. Rebound in behind. Celebrini to the near corner. Here's MacKinnon. Nathan MacKinnon lurking around at the near circle. Pirouettes. Now settles it down. Plays it back up top to Makar. Final minute. Makar walking in across. McDavid, a shot and a save. Saros, he's been sensational. Rebound far corner, McDavid. Backhanded up high. Makar to McDavid. Far circle. In the slot. This way, McKinnon, he bobbled it as it hit Teravainen en route. In that near corner. The puck comes free. Reinhardt one arms it. It came free. Celebrini. For far circle. McDavid. This way, McKinnon, a shot. He scores! Nathan MacKinnon has given Canada the lead with 35.2 to go, and they're so close for going for gold. The fourth goal of the tournament for Nathan MacKinnon as he snuck it through the 5-hole of UC Saros, moving to his right. Celebrini was on the doorstep, and it goes underneath the right pad of Saros as Nathan MacKinnon has given Canada the lead with just over a half a minute remaining until they could punch their ticket to the gold medal game. So the power play goal for the Nate Dog as Canada has come back down 2-0, the first multi-goal deficit they've toppled in international play. As now out since 1987 is now Dan O'Halloran, or Dan O'Rourke rather, not O'Halloran, is out to center. And we have a video review here as to whether this play was offsides. And oh my God, you guys, when I said McDavid fed it on the near side for Celebrini, that was closer than I thought. As holy smokes, if we could get a look at this replay, this is going to be a close call. I have 12 boxes I'm looking at. Wow. Okay. Here's the blue. This is not a good blue line camera. We're at the other side. And oh, this is close. It's McKinnon's body is in the way. We're looking for the back right skate of, okay, here we go. Here's the back right skate of Celebrini as they enter this. Oh, I think it's going to be onside. I think it's going to be by a hair of the back skate onside for Macklin Celebrini. It's going to just count as that puck was rolling on edge over the blue line. Obviously, I'm not an official. And I don't, because it's, okay, I don't know how to describe this, but say my arm's the blue line, right? The puck is diagonally on edge over the line, but if you're speaking shadows, the shadow of the, like, it's still hovering over the blue line, like on a diagonal angle. And I don't know what the official ruling will be on this, because while I think it is across the line on edge, as it's not touching anything blue, it still might technically be hovering over the blue line. Oh, this is going to be a close one. This frame, if you're watching along, they freezed it for just a second, if you could see what I'm talking about. And this is going to be dramatic, whether this counts or does not, as it appears we have a ruling, and out to center now comes Dan O'Rourke, and we await the call. Everybody patiently waits. After reviewing the play, the call on the ice is determining that the play is a good goal. It is onside, and Canada will have a 3-2 lead with just over a half minute remaining. So an unsuccessful coach's challenge, though a very good one to issue out if you're anti-Pennanen. It was so close, and considering the circumstances, you have nothing to lose with that challenge. And the Finnish crowd here in silence as these Canadian fans are jumping for joy in Milan, but there's still a little over half a minute remaining. So the Canadians breathe a sigh of relief. Kakko's going to have to serve a penalty for a failed challenge by the Finns. And Canada to a power play with 35 to go. Finns are going to have to get possession. They will off the draw. Rantanen will try and chip it in. He can't. Saros is going to have to get to the bench. He will. Extra attacker is on now for Team Finland. On the far wall, it's going to be kicked into the zone and kept by Lehkonen on the far wall. Chipped right back out to center off the Canadian bench. And it's going to be out of play, and the faceoff's going to be ruled to stay inside the Canadian zone. So 5-on-5 the faceoff with the extra attacker on for Finland, as they need a goal here in 17.3 seconds to try and tie this game and force overtime. They're going to need some sort of set faceoff play and a quick cycle to try and beat these Canadians to it. So Canada trying to get to their third straight gold medal game here in the Olympics featuring NHL players. They won their last two in 2010 and 2014. As now it looks like a timeout's going to be taken, as Antti Pennonen's going to get his timeout, use this timeout, and go to the drawing board. So I never know with these rules. They're so different from the NHL in some capacities. I knew that the challenge was going to result in a power play, but I wasn't sure if they lose their timeout, because I know the NHL reverted that back to where you still keep your timeout, because before you lost both, you went shorthanded and lost your timeout. Now you keep your timeout. And it appears that's the case here in international play. So they're heading back out onto the ice now here. Canada defensive zone draw. They've added 3 seconds. There's 20 seconds even on the clock now. The Finn net is empty. They're shorthanded, but with the extra attacker, it is 5-on-5. Face off to the right of Binnington. Aho against McKinnon. Rantanen on a set face off play ready. Off the draw, they tie up and it doesn't get dropped. As we'll see if McKinnon gets tossed out of the circle, he's making an argument as he'll stay in. Aho versus McKinnon. Draw to the right of Binnington as we have a long dramatic pause. Off the draw. It's one to the far wall. Makar can't get it out. Rantanen has it. Got it to Aho. Back on the far wall, Rantanen. Final 13 and the puck's out of the zone. The Finns are going to have to hurry. The Canadians are 10 seconds away from winning this game. Heiskanen from behind his own net. Up the far boards. It's tipped in. Aho's going to get a try. With 2 seconds to go, his backhander was weak on net and the Canadians are going for gold. So Team Canada hangs on 3-2 the final here in this game as they've punched their ticket to the gold medal game on Sunday. As now the referees are talking here, and I wonder if they're going to put more time on the clock as this game hasn't gone final, as the players are still on their respective bench, as I think they might have ruled that Binnington held onto this puck, even though it was a very quick whistle. And we'll see what Danny O'Rourke's talking about here on the scorer's table. And there's going to be 1.3 seconds on the clock, so this game hasn't gone final yet, as there's still going to be one final face-off. So it'll be to the left of Binnington. Bennett will take it for Team Canada. The Finns need a miracle here on a set face-off play to just win this draw and fire the puck on net. It is doable. I've seen it happen with the LA Kings with under a full second to go. They made it happen in 0.8. So we'll see. Armia ready for it, and Aho behind Aho as he takes this draw against Bennett. So we wait for the drop of the puck. It's down, and it's won by the Canadians. They win this game. They'll go for gold Sunday morning as they will await the winner of the United States and Slovakia as they win it 3-2 in regulation. So Nathan McKinnon, the game-winning goal as he was able to beat Saros by the right pad in the final half minute, as he gets the power play marker that propels Canada to a multi-goal comeback victory, the first of which since the 1987 Canada Cup when they came back down 3-0, and they make it back-to-back games where they come back down a goal in the third and punch their ticket to the next round. The first time this has ever happened in NHL Olympic history to go to the gold medal game, as they are on their way for Sunday's matchup. So the handshake line now commences at center ice, as this was one heck of a game. The Finns gave everything they could through the first 30 minutes, and then eventually this Canadian storm just became too much to weather for them, as they just could not keep the puck on their stick. There is just too much pressure being delivered by the Canadians, and eventually pressure made the Finns fold, and Canada comes through with the semifinal victory. A recap of the scoring in this game. Opening it 16 minutes and 55 seconds in was Mikko Rantanen from Sebastian Aho on the power play, his second of the tournament, Aho's first apple. Then Eric Haula short-handed from Armia and for just Armia, and then Sam Reinhart on the power play in that second period with 6.5 remaining. Had a tip in from a Makar shot. McDavid an assist, his 10th assist of the tournament, Makar's 4th assist, Reinhart's first goal. And then in the third period, It was Shea Theodore from Sanheim, and then Wilson giving credit to the secondary assist on a scoring change. So Shea Theodore's first tied it at 2 for Canada. And then Nathan MacKinnon from McDavid and Celebrini. Celebrini now up to 10 points on the tournament. MacKinnon up to 7. And then McDavid with 2 points here tonight. It's up to 13 in this tournament with 11 assists. Just tremendous stuff from Connor McDavid. So a reminder, in just an hour and 45 minutes from now, you can come right back to this channel. I will be live for Slovakia versus the United States as that game gets going at 3:10 Eastern, 2:10 Central. I'll be live at the top of the hour to begin the coverage, and I look forward to seeing you all there. So John Cooper gathers for a little bit of a word with his team in front of the Canadian bench. Could only imagine the word there is going to be, boys, Crosby's getting to play one more Olympic game as Sid the middle-aged man will be likely back in action Sunday morning as McDavid and MacKinnon embrace here in what is a hug of relief, what looks like. As the Canadians, you could tell they were worried. Shea Theodore, before that tying goal, it was Brad Marchand's face specifically that just looked dumbfounded. Seemed like he didn't know if they had any answers for Team Finland. And then a commercial break happened right after the equalizer, and the rest from there on out is history. So I'll talk to you all in just under 2 hours for the start of the U.S. versus Slovakia right here on my YouTube channel. This has been a presentation of the 2026 Men's Ice Hockey Tournament in the Winter Olympics. Canada with a semifinal win over Finland 3-2. Nathan MacKinnon the game-winning goal. Up next, the United States and Slovakia. My name's been Jaric Rubel, and I will see you for the start of that game in just under 2 hours.